What does this mean for the investigation? What does this mean for the search for the truth? Let's talk about it. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law and Crime. I'm Jesse Weber. We have an update on the Nolan Wells case that we want to talk about. Friends of this deceased 18-year-old college football player reportedly visited Horn Island at the end of last week on Friday. Remember, Nolan's body washed ashore near this barrier island on July 6th after a boating trip over the July 4th weekend with his friends. And this is key. According to TMZ, the young men here, Warren Hudson and Jack Spatalo, took their lawyers, J. Tyler Cox and Edward Andrew Paltzik, to investigate. It seems they may be conducting their own independent investigation after they retain counsel. And this is all in light of reported threats they may have been receiving. There has been online speculation that they were somehow involved in what happened to Nolan. To be clear, there is nothing that we have seen publicly released by authorities to verify that in any way. They deny any allegations. And by the way, the attorneys also represent another one of Nolan's purported friends, Morgan Seymour, too. And the investigation by the Jackson County Sheriff's Office is still reportedly underway. And even though sources reportedly say that the official autopsy has been completed, those results haven't been released. It's reported that this case will be presented to a grand jury for potential criminal charges, which is our understanding to be procedure under Mississippi law. But after that grand jury is when we may see the results of this autopsy and the toxicology report. But look, the bottom line is we don't even know if a crime has been committed or allegedly committed in connection with Nolan's death or the investigation in any way. There have been no criminal charges. There have been no arrests. There have been 3 arrests in connection with those allegedly making threats. We've talked about that before. That's something else. But here's where it gets really interesting regarding this trip back to the island. So according to TMZ, Attorney Cox said things got very emotional when these guys went back to Horn Island. Cox reportedly said the trip was tough for Warren and Jax because that's the last place they saw their best friend. A couple of times we had to pause and give them their space. He emphasized that Nolan was like a brother to them, that Nolan loved them, that they haven't even had an opportunity to properly grieve. Cox said that they wanted to show Attorney Paltzik what's referred to as the washing machine. This is reportedly a part of the island where the tides create this kind of whirlpool effect. Paltzik reportedly confirmed those were the same conditions as when Nolan disappeared and was later found dead. And this is namely
Nurse lady, what up?
Non-swimmable conditions. To be clear, we don't know if that had a factor in Nolan's death. And not only do we not know the results of the official autopsy, but the independent autopsy, right? The one that was commissioned by Nolan's family, who are conducting their own independent investigation through their attorney, Ben Crump, listed the cause and manner of death as undetermined. Now, that's partially, it seems to be, because Nolan's body, the one that was received by this private pathologist, it was missing components of the throat, seemingly because the state ME, right, was conducting further testing. But if you recall, the narrative that we've heard is that the last time the friends saw Nolan was when he left their boat to stay on Horn Island, allegedly to talk to a young woman. According to a Department of Marine Resources report, friends who were with Nolan said, quote, when they left, he was in the company of an unknown female and that he chose to remain on the island. However, Nolan's family said this doesn't make sense, that Nolan wouldn't go out on his own. Even one of Wells' friends, Javon Williams, told CNN, I've never known Nolan to stay back while his friends leave. He's always been a guy where if he rode with you, he's going to come back with you. That's always how he's been every single time. In a statement,
Mike from the Ville, what up?
Young men, each of them love Nolan Wells as a brother, and each are haunted to the cores of their souls by Nolan's tragic death. Magnifying the tragedy, hordes of hustlers, opportunists, and vultures have descended upon the beautiful community of Ocean Springs, Mississippi. Their aim is to divide a town, fuel political agendas, and profit from this tragedy. We, on the other hand, only deal in evidence, facts, and reality. We will never defame, guess, or speculate. And here is the truth. We don't know how Nolan Wells died, but what we do know, beyond any doubt, is this. Warren, Jax, and Morgan had nothing whatsoever to do with Nolan's death. To all those who have defamed these good Ocean Springs people, we recommend in the strongest possible terms that you immediately apologize and retract your lies. Otherwise, we will see you in court faster than you could say rush to judgment. And this was interesting. According to the Sun Herald, Attorney Paltzik announced that he and Attorney Cox are planning on filing lawsuits against 2 currently unidentified individuals, that the suits would be drafted, quote, damn near immediately, adding that they, quote, have been working tirelessly to identify the specific offenders who have, as a matter of law, defamed Warren, Jax, and Morgan. I can only tell you that they are 2 individuals who will be very recognizable. All right, before we go any further into this, I just have to say something. I know this is a bit of a 180, but it's a great sponsor. If you're running a business, you know running a business is tough enough. So why make it harder doing things manually or relying on... where our sponsor is an all-in-one business management platform with a full suite.
The videos, photos, or documents you're about to see are being used under the Fair Use Act for education, entertainment, commentary, research, or satirical purposes only. The views and thoughts expressed within them do not necessarily represent the views and thoughts of the Rumonati Network, its annoying host, or its aggravating but ever so amazing chat. Let's go. All right, now, welcome back to the Rumonati Network, the place where the conversations are real, the opinions are loud, and the chat is the most aggravating chat on the internet. If you're new here, go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe, and get comfortable, because once you step into the Rumonati, you are officially part of the conversation. Now, listen, on this channel, we talk about everything the internet is buzzing about, from hip-hop news, celebrity drama, viral moments, cultural debates, and the stories that people are afraid to ask questions about. And the best part of this whole show is the chat, because the Rumonati chat is not quiet, it is not polite, and it is definitely not boring. This is the most aggravating chat on the internet, and y'all never hold your opinions back. So if you're here right now, go ahead, wake the chat up, drop where you're watching from, hit that like button, and let me see those opinions in the comments, because around here we don't just watch the news, we break it down, we question it, and sometimes we aggravate the entire internet while doing it. So get ready, let's get into it, let's go.
Sent a deranged army after them online in the name of justice. Since the beginning of the investigation, these young men have cooperated with authorities. Threats of Hudson, 106 that was sidebar. Oh, and about the friends, I got to mention this. We reported this last week. There is a Give, Send, Go fundraiser that was set up for them, a legal defense fund, currently has raised now over $166,000. And it says in part, quote, since Nolan's death, Warren Hudson, Jack Spatalo, Morgan Seymour, and many others have been inundated with death threats, threats of violence, and defamation. They have been falsely and wrongly blamed by individuals online and in the media of either directly or indirectly having a hand in Nolan's death. Most of them could not even attend their own best friend's funeral. Why? Because race baiters sent a deranged army after them online in the name of justice. Since the beginning of the investigation, these young men have cooperated with authorities, turned over all the information they had, and provided an overwhelming number of witnesses accounting for their whereabouts. Some of them even reported to speaking up publicly to defend themselves against baseless allegations. But unfortunately, it has become clear that the truth doesn't matter. Our first goal is to raise money to defend these friends against incoming wrongful death actions filed by attorney Ben Crump and his team. Our second goal is to fund a robust legal team to sue for the litany of slander and libel being spread by not only Crump, but also many social media influencers, news outlets, and local provocateurs who know better. This is not about silencing legitimate discussion or respectful disagreement. People are free to ask questions and express opinions. This is about drawing a line against defamation, targeted harassment, threats of violence, doxing, intimidation, and coordinated campaigns that destroy lives before the facts are known. Your donation says that enough is enough. Your donation says that the time of exploiting a tragedy under the guise of justice and leaving a community in ruins after squeezing as much money out of it as possible is over. Nolan deserved dignity, not this. Oh, and by the way, TMZ caught up with Ben Crump when he was in.
But as a message that we're all tired of the grift, make sure you say that as well. Read all of it. You're leaving out the parts that make it biased. And not even, everybody's welcome to their opinion, first and foremost. Everybody is welcome to their opinion. Just present it respectfully. Have some civility about yourself. Have some dignity and some self-respect with how you present yourself. You can feel how you want to feel. Just make sure you do it respectfully. And we will grant you that same benefit. Other than that, Mars green, fucking light. We ain't putting up with no bullshit. All right? Now, this is what my point is about stopping it right there, though. There has to be some, there's no balance, right? Nobody's reporting just the news. Everybody has an angle, a side. So when people come and say, oh, this channel or that channel is grifting, or this person and that person is a grifter and they're doing this just for that, so is the big name media companies. What's the difference between the way they're reporting it and the way they want things to sound, as opposed to how small media is reporting it and the way they want things to sound? There's no difference. The truth is going to come out, hopefully, because we know how these things get swept under the rug and go unsolved. But if grifting is that family wanting justice, if you're going to call going to get, once again, these people are in distress. Everybody don't wake up every day and have a missing child in a suspicious case, and it seems like it could be some sort of injustice going on. These people don't know where to go for help. They're distraught. They're grieving. They're panicking. It's all kinds of emotions going on, and in the midst of that, they're looking for answers. And so they go to whoever is in place at the time, whether you like them or not. Do I think Ben Crump is the best person for the job and the most well-spoken? No. But if he's going to bring the attention that the case needs to get results, then go get Ben Crump. Go get, I don't give a damn who it is, go get Dr. Matthews. The real problem is, why aren't there answers? Y'all so upset. People, period, get so upset about who's present. Oh, why is he in this and this? And you trying to do the agenda. Fuck the agenda. What about the answers? Why isn't America focused on the answers? This is an American kid with a mysterious death. Why isn't America focused on the answers?
Dignity, not this. Oh, and by the way, TMZ caught up with Ben Crump when he was in New York City to get his thoughts of these young men lawyering up. He claimed all of that is a, quote, distraction, and said they are, quote, focused on getting to the truth of what happened to Nolan Wells. That's all that.
Shout out Slim. Glad you saved that man. Dang, tornadoes. What's up with it, Geo? Salute.
That matters to us. Okay, let me bring on Sergeant John Rappa, former homicide detective.
Let's go to this interview, bro. Let's just go here.
Obviously, before this happened, I would assume you're living a regular life, young guys being in college, having a typical experience. Then you lose your friend.
I think ever since it happened, my life just hit like a hole. Like even going out, we're always paranoid somebody's gonna see us, get spotted, try to beat us up potentially, or even worse.
You just met these young men more recently. And are you confident that these young men had nothing to do?
That sound like when you leave your house and you see police or you see a Confederate flag. I'm not saying that make it right. I'm just saying, sounds pretty familiar. Like, damn, every time I see these lights and these certain flags, it just sound familiar to me.
To do with it. We have
Oh, you thought life was happy-go-lucky. It's just a reality check. I ain't gonna lie, this lineup making me mad, man. This lineup is making me upset.
Paulsick, Warren, Jax, and then we have Morgan here. And so I talked to Warren last time I was here. We had a really deep conversation, and I'm glad that we were able to get other perspectives now that we have Ed here. Ed is a defamation attorney. And I want to start with you, Ed. Why did you choose to work with the boys? What are your plans? What do you expect to get out of working with them? What's your expectations when it comes to defamation?
Well, I think an injustice in one place is an injustice everywhere. I hate lying. I care about the truth, but most of all, it's the actual people who are involved here. So first of all, I just want to say Tyler Cox really welcomed me here. My co-counsel, he's an incredible human being and he's an incredible attorney. And then after that, I had an opportunity to meet these incredible young men. And I just got to say, these guys are unbelievable. Warren, Jackson, Morgan, they're just beautiful people. They're really decent human beings. They're just great people. And that's why I'm here, because I want to help great people. And this is a very sad situation, but it's also a very human situation, and it's a tragedy.
So you guys have, obviously before this happened, I would assume you're living a regular life, young guys.
George the Truth, what up?
Being in college, having a typical experience. Then you lose your friend, Nolan. And after that, what has life been like for you guys?
I think like ever since it happened, my life just like hit like a hole, like it just stopped. And I mean, we just got to live day by day from now on. I could say definitely a whole flip upside down for our lives. It's like even going out, we're always paranoid somebody's gonna see us, get spotted, try to beat us up potentially, or even worse. We're really just trying to stay.
They just gave themselves the green light to catch a body. Don't be surprised if one of these boys catch a body and claim self-defense. Now, y'all better stay far from them, nigga. They just gave themselves the green light to get away with another one. Golly.
Low-key and not go out as much or anything like that. Yeah.
It's been hard because my friends and I are people. I mean, we like to be out and hang out outside of our friend group, and not being able to like go certain places or, walk around in public because our head's always on a swivel. It's really affected all of us. I mean, especially in like my family's standpoint, my safety comes first. My friends and family safety come first too. And it's been really hard because I'm worried about like my family as well with me, and it's hard, but we're just going day by day and just trying to get through every day.
Can you give me some examples?
Oh, poor things. You know who else trying to get through every day, day by day? The family of this missing man, this deceased man, not missing, he's found and he's dead. The family of this young man that don't have answers, bro. I ain't gonna lie. It ain't no woe is me for y'all soft ass when ain't nobody forthcoming with any kind of information to help, at least not in the public eye. It still seems weird, bro. I don't give a damn. I don't give a damn. I'm speculating, right? I'm just speculating. I could be wrong. I reserve the right to be wrong, but it looks foul. It was too much weird stuff after the occurrence, bro. And all these, it's too orchestrated. The timelines line up too perfectly. I'm still not getting how when everybody's so drunk and disorganized, they are the most organized and on point that they ever been in life. That's my only thing. Everybody is so drunk and so high and doing so many drugs and so busy and so in an emergency situation that we all know exactly what time we left. We all know exactly what time was the last time we saw this guy. We all happen to go home and get tired around the same time and end our night around the same time and then wake back up and have this just emergency premonition in our mind. Oh my God, let's contact the boat police. So you wake up and call the mom, call the Coast Guard, it just sounds weird, bro. It just sounds weird. And the thing about it, the main thing that makes it feel some sort of foul play, or why the animosity towards the parents who just want answers? It would be the same thing as if y'all were, if kids were in the house and something gets broken and you don't live there, the parent is still going to be upset and looking for answers, right? Something gets broken. This is a dead person. The parents want answers.
Because of what has happened, have you guys have had things happen online, threats online? Have you guys have any examples of people accosting you or anything like that?
Oh yeah, we have had countless death threats online. Been
green light,
spotted. I'll let you
stay away. They'll be them put a slug in you and beat the charge. Don't do it. Leave people alone.
Elaborate more on that. Being spotted.
Let justice handle it, or let the universe handle it, or God, or whatever you feel. Don't be all upset and all emotional and think you about to go do something. Nope, don't do that. Don't be stupid.
We have been spotted. Yeah, we. We have had countless death threats online. Been spotted. Elaborate more on that. Being spotted.
Let justice handle it, or let the universe handle it, or God, or whatever you feel. Don't be all upset and all emotional and think you about to go do something. Nope, don't do that. Don't be stupid.
I mean, people have obviously just pointed us out. I mean, as a group and even on a one-on-one setting, I think it's really just like awkward because I don't want to talk about this, and I know my friends don't want to talk about this any more than we need to. You know, we're still mourning one of our best friends' death, and it's hard to speak about it when, you know, like sometimes we just need some alone time, or sometimes we just need to, you know, lay back and not be around all this. And I mean, I've been called.
I got so many little small petty alone. You know who's alone? Lay back. You know who's laying back forever? Like, I got so many little small BS petty digs just to nitpick, and because woe is me. Look at what I'm going through because of this whole man. Fuck you. What about the parents? What about this deceased man with no answers? This shit, man.
Called out in public, and I haven't been in public that much. I know my friends have had encounters in public. The threats have been insane from, you know, my stepmom, my dad, my mom, just everyone included, like even my brothers and my sisters. And it's just hard. I mean, it's unbelievable where like this has been taken to and the level where this is at.
When you say you've been called out in public, can you give me an example of like, what do you mean? People are threatening you with weapons? People are, you know, not allowing you, denying you service? Because I heard that Trayston, he went to a corner store and they told him his money is not good there. They wouldn't even let him buy Gatorade.
Yeah.
Are you experiencing things like that or something totally different?
Right. I wouldn't say like that. I think I haven't been denied, you know, anything, but.
Because your skin complexion ain't the complexion of Trayston. They might have told Trayston that that might not have had shit to do with Nolan Wells. They might have just seen him and be like, hell no, boy. Your money's no good here. You'll never work in this town again. You son of a bitch. You know, you gotta have a spittoon. You'll never work in this town again. God damn it. You motherfucker.
Like Trayston, it's hard to hear from a good friend of mine that he's getting denied a Gatorade and a Red Bull before.
Oh no, Discord closed today. Hell no, I can't come up. I don't even want you in that bitch. Nope. Nope. Don't even want you in there if you're gonna be. Nope. Hell no, that shit closed. No new friends today. We ain't doing none of that. Ain't nobody coming up saying no bullshit. I don't want to have a debate. I ain't gonna lie. Fuck all that. We finna listen to them talk, and Umar gonna tell you how he feel about it, and that's that. If you don't like it, then maybe this ain't the space for you.
For work and having to, like, he calls me, he's like, dude, you won't believe what just happened. He got called out at Walmart. Someone called him out at Walmart and was like asking him all these questions and trying to press him about it. And it's crazy to me. Like, you know, we live in a very tight-knit community, and for people to, you know, push back and say these things when they know what Ocean Springs is like, it's really hard. And I mean, I haven't had many personal
facts, AA team. That's what I was saying. That's why I said I hate this lineup. Just look at the line. It's so never mind. Yes.
Encounters, but
excellent observation, man. Shout out to chat. Shout out to y'all.
Being around the guys and stuff like that, they have. So.
And Ed, as an attorney that's representing these boys, I mean, what does that make you feel like? You know, do you feel like you got a good case here, or, you know, what's your perspective in that? Because, you know, people are online and obviously they know who you are. Obviously they know you represented Donald Trump in some pretty high profile cases. And so now that you've joined, or at least now you work for the young men here, you hear them say things like they've been accosted, they've been, you know, threatened online. Does that make your case a greater case, or how do you work within what's happening to these young men?
Well, unfortunately, I wish there was no case. I wish this hadn't happened. But unfortunately, because these things did happen, there is a case, and now there's multiple cases. And I'm going to tell you something. If you're out there and you lied about these guys, you lied about my guys, you lied about Tyler's guys here, if you lied about Morgan, if you lied about Jax, if you lied about Warren, we're going to get you. And you're going to be hauled into court, you're going to be held accountable, and it's going to be very painful. And what I would say to the people who have done that is, now's your chance. If you want to apologize and retract before you find yourself in court, you should probably do that now. Because if you don't do that, once you're in court, Now you can't leave. You won't be able to get out of it.
What is the smiles on their face like it's some kind of pleasure from this, bro? Look at it. They all three smiled and laughed at the same time with the same expression. I'm just, just to make sure, just in case you're watching, we have remained unbiased as far as saying there has to be proof and we don't have a court to convict anybody. My personal stances have only been based upon speculation and opinion. Never said anything was a fact. Never said anybody was guilty for sure or convicted for sure. Always said that it appeared to be foul play. Let justice be served, and even asked the question to us, what if these boys were actually innocent and everybody's sitting here mad at them and convicting them? Imagine what they're going through. That question was also asked as well. But the main priority here isn't a lawsuit with those boys, in my opinion. That's taken away from what the main priority here is that a young man is dead and we don't have answers. And in the midst of that, their best friend, allegedly, this is what they were conducting themselves, calling their saying he was. This guy right here did an interview saying best friend. They all referred to him as best friends and all this shit, right? So for them to be up here smiling and laughing, and I haven't heard any remorse myself personally, in my opinion. I haven't heard any remorse, seen any grieving, seen anything that appeared genuine, just in my opinion. But that's just my opinion. I'm one man on the internet with a mask on that lives in a tent. And I always tell you to take it for a grain of salt. Matter of fact, don't take it at all. So we're not pushing no agenda. Ain't nobody saying, oh, let's go get these boys, oh, convict them, blah blah blah. The views and thoughts represented on these videos that we watch and in the chat do not necessarily represent the views and thoughts of the host or the chat. Everybody has their own independent mind, and we may feel how we feel. It may be voiced, but that doesn't mean everybody over here feels the same way. This is not a sheep or a flock mentality network or YouTube channel. We are entitled to our own opinions, which we encourage over here, but you have to present them respectfully. That's the only thing we ask. There's been plenty of people that have come in and said that these guys are innocent, they should walk. They agree with Tatum 100%, that everybody who's saying that these guys are guilty is tripping. And we have no problem with that. It's when the name calling comes in. It's when the finger pointing and the phrases, the hidden racial phrases, you people and the fatigue and all this other. You say X instead of ask and all this other. Yeah. So that's when the issues come in, but those are with those individual people. The conversation itself is civil and adult enough for us to understand that nobody has been convicted yet. But also, we do have a First Amendment right as Americans to say that this shit looks foul. It looks like some bullshit. And look at the fucking smug smile on their faces. That don't help it look any better for their case. That's all we're saying. And as Americans with a First Amendment right, we should be allowed to say that without any threat.
You're going to be held accountable, and it's going to be very painful. And what I would say to the people who have done that is, now's your chance. If you want to apologize and retract before you find yourself in court, you should probably do that now. Because if you don't do that, once you're in court, now you just can't leave. You won't be able to get out of it. And we're not going to name names because there's some other folks who are doing that, and we want to be better than that. And I want to emphasize this, right? We're not here to guess. We're not here to speculate. We're only going to deal in facts, right? And here's the most important thing.
Where are the facts? What are the onlookers? What are the parents? The parents aren't even presented the facts. You can say that when you're not the one when you're not the one with the child missing. Oh, we're not going to speculate. We're only going to deal in facts. So once again, what are you saying? There's no First Amendment right to have the conversation to say something don't look right? The parents don't have the right to speculate when they haven't had answers for their child who's been dead over 30 days? Fuck out of here with that.
Right? We don't know
We don't know the facts, nigga.
how Nolan Wells died. No one here.
Exactly. So what the fuck? Everybody's just supposed to be quiet about this when historically it's been, the injustice in Mississippi has been documented historically, bro. So that's all we're saying. And everybody, once again, the racist people will say, oh, every circumstance and every situation is its own situation. But it keep occurring in the same place over and over. But no, that's its own situation. You have to isolate that from everywhere and take away the history. No, we're not doing that. Fuck is he talking about?
Here is saying we know. But what we do know is Morgan, Jax, and Warren had nothing whatsoever to do with Nolan Wells' death. And that's what's important. And unfortunately, because there are people who want to divide a town and come in from the outside and tell people what to think and pit neighbor against neighbor, it compounds the tragedy. It magnifies the tragedy. And
So I wonder, are they going at Ben Crump?
I just want to say this. Here's why it's an even bigger tragedy. Because my friends here, Morgan, Jack,
Now they're your friends.
and Warren, these guys are not just the finest that Ocean Springs has to offer, finest that Mississippi has to offer. These are the finest young men that America has to offer. You know, really great people. And Tyler actually taught me good Ocean Springs people. That was one of the first things I heard when I got here. So I'll just say that they're good Ocean Springs people.
Sorry to interrupt.
So all three of them sitting there with the same. It's just all right, bro. All right, bro. These the finest men that you ever met in America. This is the top notch, cut from the cloth of America that America has ever had to offer. This is the finest of wine that America has to offer. Young men who take attitude with a grieving mother who only wants answers. So we're just going to ignore all the actions after the situation and just put the blame directly on the mother. And we're going to focus on racism and focus on the town divided and focus on, oh, somebody is causing some ruckus and some uproar. Uproar should be caused because it's been 30 days, mysterious death, no answers, bro. Get the fuck out of here.
Things I heard when I got here. So I'll just say that they're good Ocean Springs people.
Sorry to interrupt. I know you're enjoying this more recently. And are you confident that these young men had nothing to do with it?
Confidence not a strong enough word. In fact, beyond a reasonable doubt is not strong enough. There's a 0% chance that they did anything wrong. So this is not 90%. It's not 99%. It's not 99.9999. There's no decimals. There's no anything. It's 100%. 100.000%. Nothing. They did nothing wrong. And that's the problem for our opponents here, who have ruined their lives, dragged them through the mud, and attacked them. You don't get to lie. We have the First Amendment. We love our First Amendment. But you don't get to lie and hurt people. You want to lie and it doesn't hurt people? Fine. You lie and you hurt people, that's why we have defamation. And that's what this is about. So I just want to emphasize this in the strongest possible terms. Zero wrongdoing. Completely innocent, totally innocent, and categorically innocent.
And you guys have had experiences with either people threatening you online. I know that, Warren, we talked about this before, and we talked a little, or at least spoke a little bit about when you go out, you guys are getting accosted by people. Can you give us an example of, or at least tell the audience an example of an incident where you guys may have been accosted? Or what does that look like when you go out? People threaten you with weapons? Are people trying to physically harm you? Are people having to be restrained? What kind of engagement is happening when you guys go out?
We went to a restaurant, a couple of buddies of mine, and when we were, I wouldn't say threatening with weapons or anything, but I felt, and I know my friends felt, threat for our lives. I mean,
Spare me the I'm so sad look. Spare me the oh my God, I can't take this. I'm so distraught. Look at this. Come on, bro. You don't really feel like that, bro. This is just my observation. I could be wrong. I reserve the right to be wrong. Doesn't mean I get to spew false information, but I can give my opinion. And in my opinion, this guy is fake distraught, dealing with all of this. And the posture is fake. Come on, look at this dude. First of all, let's just analyze Chisel Chin right here, right? He's the athlete out of all of them. He's not. He probably hunts more than all the rest of them. He got the attitude. He the one who probably didn't really like Nolan deep down inside. Looked like he ready to fix his mouth to call Tatum something. But this guy right here, he's the athlete. Why? Look at his. This is a fake posture. Bro, you can tell he's the head up guy, shoulders back. He works out. Come on, bro. You got on the little shorts. You probably got on flip-flops with your toes out and shit. Like, come on, bro. You don't feel like this. Your attitude don't give. Your clothing don't even say this is how I feel. I'm so distraught. Oh, my God. I'm so bothered. Come on, bro. Fuck out of here.
I don't think there was like a fear factor, but at the same time, like it's awkward in public. Like I stated, like when we have to talk about these things. But we went to a restaurant and someone came up to me and was like, "Is this you?" And I was kind of like shaken up about it. Well, at first she asked like my name and like all these questions, and I was like, okay, whatever. She's coming up to talk.
I never condemned them. They're never condemned. Hold on, man. Anybody, let's even erase that. We don't even want to see that in the chat. I'm finna take that out, bro. Hold on. Remove that. And only truth, watch out. We ain't talking about none of that. We ain't talking about none of it. Remove that. We ain't talking about none of that. Ain't nobody condemning them. Nobody condemned them. Once again, like I've been saying from the beginning, we don't have a court to put them in to convict them. Can't say that they're guilty. All we're saying is it looks suspicious and that there seems to be foul play in the death of this American young man. That's all that we've been saying from the beginning, and we maintain that. That's it. We are allowed to say that something looks a certain way. Am I insinuating that they're guilty? No. Once again, let justice be served. And if these young men are really going through that, then I wish the best for them. I'm just telling you, this appears to be fake posturing, in my opinion. Just my opinion, but take it for a grain of salt. I'm one man on the internet with a mask on. As a matter of fact, don't take it at all. It don't mean nothing.
Well, then she came up to me again and showed me our first interview and was like, "Are you sure this isn't you?" And I was like, "Well, yeah."
You're absolutely right. There's nothing I'm going to do about it, 12th man 85, and you aren't either. And if you bring up anybody doing anything about it, or you suggest that something should be done, you're going to be removed, because that's not what we promote over here. The only thing that should be done is proper justice, proper legal procedures to get proper justice for the death of this young man, to figure out to proper answers for the death of this young man. And if justice needs to be served, then it does. And if these guys are innocent, then free them, release them, let them go live their lives. That's what the fuck is going on over here, 12th man. Don't get yourself removed. Oh, never mind. It's already been done.
Yeah, that's me. Like,
shout out to mods.
Obviously. And she kind of just, I looked at my buddy and I was like, yeah, we're leaving. Close everything out. Like, we're going. So when I watched the Yella Beezy case, when I watched Yella Beezy, a rapper that appears to have had done something to Mo 3, and I'm saying, oh, it looked like it's over for him. It don't look good. He looks guilty. Look at the look on his face. He looks guilty in my opinion. He looks like he could have done something like that. I don't know though. He could beat this case. It looked like he could walk away, but shit, look at how he looked. How come nobody wants to file a lawsuit then? Why is it just everybody so up in an uproar about, so
So y'all fall back. We ain't even discussing none of that. You bring that shit up, you're out of here.
And I left, and there was an altercation after I left with some of my buddies that weren't involved in this at all. And they told my friends that they were gonna kill them and they wanted to fight and all this like crazy stuff. I mean, I wasn't there, but my friends told me this, that what the people were saying to them was like totally just crazy. Like, I mean, there was people like that were, you know, outside of this telling us like, hey, you need to leave before something happens because I know what could go down right now. And like, I know that these people are crazy. So, I mean, we all felt, we were kind of shaken up about that. It was weird because.
Where were you at? Now I need specifics, Warren. Now I ain't gonna lie. Now I'm getting petty and I just want to know specifics to make sure you're not lying and just making up a scenario. Because oh yeah, we were out, we were eating. Where were you eating? How many buddies? What time? Oh, what were the appearance of the people that they said were upset with you? What made you feel like, who told you, hey guys, you guys should leave? I know how these people can get. So who were these people? Who relayed the message to you? What restaurant were y'all eating in where these people, where it's this big separation of crowd or this difference in crowd? And what, you know what I'm saying? He acting like he was in a chicken spot in the hood and was like, hey man, I know these people. Like, motherfucker, if you go to Texas Roadhouse, it ain't finna be a whole bunch of people in there that want to, hey, let's get Warren. Come on, get the fuck out of here, bro. Cap story, cap.
It was our first encounter as a group. And I think it's also like just crazy that people will like look at you in the eye and tell you they'll kill you because they believe you killed your best friend and you have nothing to do with it.
And Morgan and Jax, were you guys there?
Yes, we were there.
I was there.
I didn't hear the part where they said they were going to kill him and stuff, but
Come on, bro. See, never mind.
I did hear whenever she came up to him originally, she was like, hey, you have like TikTok or anything like that? Your face looks really familiar. And he was like, no, I don't have TikTok or anything like that. And she was like, oh, okay. And then walked off and then came back with, like you said, the first interview on her phone and showing him, she's like, so this isn't you. Either you have a doppelganger or this is you. And he was like, well, yeah, that's me. And then we got the check and we bounced and we were waiting outside for everybody else to get out of there. And while we're waiting outside is whenever some of our other buddies that aren't even on social media that we were just there with was getting told that other people are going to kill them and all that kind of stuff.
If it happened, that's fucked up. I ain't gonna lie. If that happened and these boys innocent and they got to go through shit like that, that's real fucked up. And the people who are walking up to you saying anything, doing any kind of threatening and shit, that's against the law, bro. Y'all stupid as fuck. You're stupid as fuck if you walking up on anybody, especially these boys right now with all this attention that's on you, dumb as a bitch, and you deserve to be reprimanded to the foot to be, excuse me. My bad. 420. Punished to the full extent of the law. Just like if somebody was to have had done something to Nolan, they deserve to be punished to the full extent of the law. But at the end of the day, all we want is answers. The reason that there's some people that's not having sympathy for your plight after this occurrence is because of your actions after the occurrence. What seemed like your lack of compassion after the occurrence, your attitudes towards the parents and what took precedent to you guys over finding out what happened to Nolan. What took precedence to you guys over finding out the truth the truth, because we don't know exactly what happened to Nolan. Instead of finding out the truth and what exactly happened to Nolan, it was other things that took precedent that you guys put before that, along with not showing grief, not showing compassion, giving the parents attitude and talking bad about the man's parents and shit like that. So that's why people don't have sympathy for your plight. If you are going through that and you're innocent, you should not be going through that. But you have to understand this is playing out in the public eye and people are making a judgment. Even if it's wrong, they're making it based off your presentation from a certain point on. your actions from a certain point on. I'm not saying they're right. I'm just giving you a possible reason of why people may have no sympathy, bro. No sympathy at all for what you're going through. That may be the reason. It didn't seem like you guys had any sympathy for your so-called best friend or his grieving parents.
So how did they make you guys feel when did you think they were serious? Did you think it was just people trying to make a name for themselves by confronting you in front of others? Like, what was your take on that, Morgan?
I think it was just like, I was in the general area of where one of our buddies was, where this altercation happened. And I actually got into a conversation with a fellow next to me that wasn't even involved. And he told me straight up, he was like, if I was y'all right now, I would leave before y'all get hurt. Y'all need to leave right now. I'm just watching out for y'all and making sure y'all are safe. And I mean, I wouldn't say that those people would have physically done something in that moment, but I think they were playing like almost like a mental game, like just to get into your head and just almost like make yourself like just think these things that obviously are not true.
If you can go back to the very beginning of this, how do you think this should have played out? Because I always question in my mind that when I go back, I look at what happened, I look at the initial stories with Nolan, and you guys knew him, right? I didn't know him. I know none of you guys. I just had a chance to meet you guys more recently. But how do you think this should have gone? If you could control the environment, Nolan is found deceased. How do you guys think that this should have been put out to the world?
So first off, I wish that none of this would ever happen. I wish Nolan could still be here with us today. And I wish that, like I said, none of this would ever happen. Like I wish that.
Is that the first time we heard that? I could be mistaken, but I'm glad somebody said it. I done had to lead so many conversations with that when people try to say, oh, you just wish these boys were guilty. No, I wish none of this shit never occurred. What the fuck? I wish the young man wasn't deceased and these young men weren't going through whatever they're going through. And we didn't have a whole bunch of questions about a dead American young man. That's all the fuck I ever said.
All this could be erased and Nolan could be here tomorrow. I mean, that's more than anything. But other than that, I feel like his mom blasting us on social media from the get-go, saying that he was out there with Warren and another guy. That's where it first started to take off. And then also the fact that she posted a picture of me and Morgan and another guy and Nolan on the boat together, blasting that out there, pushing this narrative, kind of, I guess. I wish that would have never happened either. And I don't think if those would have never happened, a lot of this stuff wouldn't have been as viral or gone all over the country at this point. I mean, this is a countrywide news story that is just blown out of proportion. And the fact that it was our best friend and it's not what
blown out of proportion
people are saying it is what hurts the most. I mean, that was our brother. I mean, straight up. That's what I told his dad the night that he came over to my house. He was like, blah, blah, saying something. I was like, dude, that was my brother. Like, and you know that. He knows that. We were picking him up every single day. He never drove. I can't tell you how many times I pulled up in his driveway and picked him up. And it wasn't him asking. It was just because that's what we did. We just picked up Nolan all the time. That's how we, came about to all the stuff that we were going to. We'd go and pick him up. That's how much we like to be around him. We would do stuff like that all the time,
Well, first off, like, I wish we would have never, like, I think about this.
I knew it was a pair of flip-flops in this whole interview. It might be 3. He don't got on, I don't think he got flip-flops. He definitely got his toes out. These motherfuckers, toes out, hoes out. Let's go.
Every day, like, I wish we would have never went out on the 4th of July because I know this wouldn't have happened.
Huh? Hold on. Wait.
Off, like, I wish we would have never, like, I think about this every day. Like, I wish we would have never went out on the 4th of July because I know this wouldn't have happened. Nolan wouldn't be gone. And like, it's really hard to think about because it's like, I wish I would have done this different, or I wish I would have done that different. Because
Hold on. Shout out to the homie Mills, though, because once again, bro, I have to question, first of all, okay, this is a combination of thoughts from myself and the homie Mills. Listen, this is what happened. I was saying, I just felt like it was weird that everybody got sleepy. Everybody, in the midst of being drunk, teenagers, the most disorganized people in the world, right? Teenagers, drunk, high, partying, distracted. All of a sudden, everybody's so organized, they know exactly the last time they saw Nolan. They know exactly the last time they left. They all got tired around the same time, called it a night around the same time, woke up around the same time and felt this urgency to reach out and start calling each other. Hey, you seen Nolan? Hey, you seen Nolan? All of a sudden. And then, but then the homie say, it was the 4th of July. Didn't nobody go see the fireworks? I got to know what the fuck. So hold on, y'all. So your best friend. So hold on. What did you? I want to know those details. It was the 4th of July, bro. So y'all just shut y'all night down. Your best friend, or he ain't home. We got his phone and his car keys. Let's everybody just go to sleep and worry about him later. It just sounds weird, bro. You can't make me think that it don't sound like some foul shit going on. And then there's these occurrences where there's supposed to be some situation with the phone. People can't get the phone. People can't see the boat. Too many unanswered questions, bro. So I don't like the fact that they continuously mention what the mother did, like making it about them. It's the fact that his mom did this and his mom, and she knows we're best friends. And look, come on, bro. Just with a class, if you any sort of class, the classy thing to do would have been just to keep that quiet and just, if you're gonna speak, just maintain your innocence. Don't ever mention what your deceased friend's mother. Come on, bro. That's so classless. Why would you? Anyway.
now one of my brothers passed away, but I think from the beginning, I'm glad that I called the Coast Guard. I'm glad that we came together as a group, even from the first day when people started texting us things, saying, crazy things. But I wish it wouldn't have been reported as some type of race thing. I think it's really bad that people are pushing the narrative, oh, this is a race thing. Well, obviously it's not. I mean, this is like a brother to us. I mean, Nolan's no different than anyone else in our group. And I just wish this wasn't pushed on the media as, oh, this is a bunch of white guys that killed a black guy, or this is four, like in the beginning it was like 4 guys went to a stranded island and dumped Nolan at the island, just left him there. Like even from the beginning, it was just like this thing, and no one had facts, and they were just pushing this horrible narrative, all lies about everyone, and it's sick. So I wish that would have been completely different. I'm glad I called the Coast Guard. I'm glad I made the first contact within all of this. I'm glad I was the first one that called Christine Wells that night and told her that we haven't heard from her son.
I got
and
you.
I'm glad that I did all of that, but I hate the way this has been perceived by the media and portrayed. This has been absolutely horrible with the way and the things that they've said to us and done. But
I got you.
other than that, I mean, there's not much I would change from my point of view and my friend's point of view. I think we did everything right, and I know we did nothing wrong.
I also want to say, I think it's so criminal that they took something so anti-racial.
That's respectable. I think it might have been an accident and the parents started trying to protect them in the wrongest way possible. I mean, who knows? Nurse Lady T said, that's y'all friend. Y'all should want justice too. You should want the autopsy out. Jeffrey Gunner says, well, his mother blatantly lied. What did his mother lie about? Y'all could, we can agree to disagree, but you're gonna be respectful. And no, we're not we're not convicting anybody over here. Kill all that legal talk. Ain't nobody over here convicting nobody. You just heard me say, if these young men are innocent, free them. They shouldn't have nothing. They shouldn't be going through what they're going through if they're innocent, and it's a shame. But I said what takes precedent to that is the death of this young man. Get out of here. You knew, get the hell out of here. Ain't nobody convicting them boys. Fuck is wrong with you, nerd? Who else can I get up out of here? I got a golden boot on today. I'm going to kick the shit out of your ass. I got a golden boot.
Racist and flipped it into something super racist. Like they took, this is the definition of anti-racism. I mean, that we did not look at Nolan any different than I looked at him, or even you. You know, this is literally our brother. I mean, like we stated, we did not treat him any different. We didn't treat Trayson any different. We don't treat Trayson any different. And they just flipped it. And I just think that is so wild that they're pushing this.
Oh, Trayson's black.
This thing that they're saying, oh, they want to end racism and all this stuff. Well, they're the one pushing it. They're pushing the racism. And I just think that's kind of crazy.
Morgan, what's your thoughts on this? How does it affect you?
I mean, first I want to say
Morgan looks a little older in the face than he actually is. You know, Morgan looks just a tad bit older than his age group. I mean, this is his age group. He just looks a little.
I mean, wish this would have never happened. I wish Nolan would still be here with us today. And but I, in my opinion, I think that the media, they shouldn't have pushed a narrative from so early. I think that they should have let the local officials do their job, let them release statements, and then, I mean, the media is obviously going to see that and then do whatever they do. But that's what I mean. I trust the local officials.
Ed,
I will say that that's the most respectable answer. Even though, I guess they're talking specifically about the occurrence, right? But that's I can say that's a respectable answer, bro. That's a respectable answer.
They shouldn't have pushed. Still be here with us.
His narrative, he's not, and anybody who's got their panties in a bunch, he's not talking about race when he says the narrative. He's talking about the narrative, where that comes along with it. That's to be speculated. But what he's talking about is the narrative that the friends had something to do with it. I can agree with him on that. That's a respectable answer, bro.
I just think that's kind of crazy.
Morgan, what's your thoughts on this? How does it affect you?
I mean, first I want to say, wish this would have never happened. I wish Nolan would still be here with us today. And, but in my opinion, I think that the media, they shouldn't have pushed a narrative from so early. I think that they should have let the local officials do their job, let them release statements, and then, I mean, the media is obviously going to see that and then do whatever they do.
That's fair, bruh.
But that's what I mean. I trust the local officials.
Ed, with what has transpired, you know, how does that dictate your response? Because you have a 30,000 foot view of all of this stuff, right? You see the way that it could have went, and you see that there's people that instigated the narrative that's out there now. And as a defamation attorney, how does this navigate your tactics?
Sure. And I want to be clear about something. Tonight, I'm not going to give any particular person any more oxygen than they may have already sucked up. But I will say this. What's been said about Morgan, Jax, and Warren, I'm not going to call them untruths or half-truths or falsehoods. I'm going to call it what it is, lies. So the first thing that's really important here is we're dealing with lies and liars. We're dealing with profiteers. We're dealing with hustlers. And one thing that I've seen since I got here is that Ocean Springs, Mississippi, is a really beautiful place. And the region is very beautiful. It's one of the most beautiful places in the country. And there is just no question. The death of Nolan Wells is a horrendous tragedy. But for the tragedy to then be magnified after his death for no reason other than profit is a disgrace, or what we would call a shanda. And I had the opportunity to go to Horn Island today with Tyler and Warren and Jax. And a lot of people who have been sucking up way more oxygen than they're entitled to have not been to the island. I'm willing to bet that a lot of the hustlers and profiteers and liars have not been to that island. And you have to go to that island. And being at the island today was revelatory. It was really illuminating. It's a very dynamic marine environment, first of all. But when you go to the island, you see instantly that what some people want to be true, what they wish to be true, they're trying to wish it to be true. They're trying to make it true through their lies. It's actually not possible. It is a very, very long and narrow barrier island. It's basically very low sand dunes. And in the particular part of the island that we're dealing with, there are no trees. There's hardly any foliage, hardly any tree cover, hardly any plants, and it's wide open. And on July 4th, there were thousands of people there. There is no possible way that anybody could have committed a murder in broad daylight on a barren, windswept island that is narrow and was just swamped with people that day in broad daylight. It's just not possible given the natural environment there. And that leads me to the next point, which is this. Once you know what the timeline is, when you combine the timeline with the actual dynamics of the island itself, all of the lies completely unravel because it isn't possible, and here's why. Morgan, Warren, and Jax left the island at about 4:30 p.m. That's it. They were gone. That is not open for debate. So that's a fact. They were gone. And at that time, Nolan Wells was still alive. Now, I'm not going to name them out of respect for their privacy, but just as one example, there are two very fine, upstanding members of the Ocean Springs community who saw Nolan Wells at about 10 minutes to 6 p.m. So about an hour and a half after these fine young men had left the island. They were gone, departed. Nolan Wells was alive. And these two witnesses, two very reliable, very credible, and very upstanding members of the community, they saw Nolan. And they've known Nolan for years. There's no chance that they made a mistake. And by the way, this can be corroborated through other evidence, other eyewitness accounts. And that's the end of it right there. And that's before we get into everything else about the situation.
And when I look at this, I feel like there's levels of defamation and areas of defamation. And I'm not going to speak on your behalf because this is y'all's story to tell, your story to litigate. But which areas are the most egregious that you are going to go after, or that you guys think also are areas where people have taken this
He a lawyer. He should say all of them.
situation and clearly lied to the public? One being the phone call. What is your thoughts on that phone call to Cito? Some people have gone out and done enhancements to the audio.
But good thing we only asked about the phone call. Good thing we ain't say, oh, this is exactly. No, we asked. Did y'all hear that, motherfucker?
And in doing that, created a transcript manually. It doesn't appear that the transcript was derived from an automated system or have any, in my opinion, real integrity with it. What are your thoughts, first, you guys, on the audio, and then I'll get to you, Ed, on could that be a defamatory area?
Tatum is doing the work. This is a shot at all the content creators. This motherfucker Tatum playing dirty.
Here, you heard the part about the mom, right? That I played for Justin Pearson. Were you able to hear that?
No, I couldn't hear that part.
Okay, let's play a little bit of it, Andy, and then we'll let Elliot respond.
So like his mom blasting us on social media from the get-go, saying that he was out there with Warren and another guy. That's where it first started to take off. And then also the fact that she posted a picture of me and Morgan and another guy and Nolan on the boat together, blasting that out there, pushing this narrative, kind of, I guess. I wish that would have never happened either. And I don't think if those would have never happened, a lot of this stuff wouldn't have been as viral or gone all over the country at this point. I mean, this is a countrywide news story that is just blown out of proportion, and the fact that it was our best friend and it's not what people are saying it is what hurts the most. I mean, that was our brother. I mean, straight up. That's what I told his dad the night that he came over to my house. He was like, blah, blah, saying something. I was like, dude, that was my brother. Like, and you know that. He knows that. We were picking him up every single day. He never drove. I can't tell you how many times I pulled up in his driveway and picked him up. And it wasn't him asking. It was just because that's what we did. We just picked up Nolan all the time. That's how he, came about to all the stuff that we were going to. We'd go and pick him up. That's how much we like to be around him. We would do stuff like that all the time,
Wow.
You're muted, Don.
I said, Elliot, what do you think of that?
I think it's alarming. I think, there are two things I want to say. Number one, so having privilege, and I know privilege is some sort of it's a hot button word, and there's going to be people saying like, oh, you're race baiting, all that kind of stuff. But privilege, and particularly white privilege, it's having the expectation of comfort. And these young men have the expectation of comfort. And to say that like Nolan's mom blasted us when she posted a picture because she was missing her son, and because she said my son was with these boys, which was a statement of fact, is not blasting you. You're just upset that you are now in this uncomfortable situation, which I understand going viral for something like this all over the world is significant. But you have more remorse for the statements that the mom made, or more like, I wish that hadn't happened, instead of like, I wish we had not gone to the island in the first place. Instead of like, I wish Nolan was still here. Instead of, I wish one of us had stayed with Nolan. Like, it's just very, very odd presentation. I don't really understand, but it is alarming that they're saying she's like blasting them when that is clearly not what's happened.
One of them did say they wish that they hadn't gone to Horn Island at all, or their friend or their brother would still.
Yeah, two of them said it. Warren and what's the guy in the middle? Morgan, I think his name. No. Warren said he wished they never would have went to Horn Island on 4th of July, and the other guy said he wished this would have never happened at all. Like he wished nothing would have ever happened to Nolan or nothing.
Be here or so be alive.
I saw that, but if I charted how often they've said we wish this, and this versus that one statement, they're expressing regret and remorse over way other things other than things related to Nolan, and that's alarming. That's really.
Yeah, I mean, not like I want any kind of kudos. I'm not no fucking professional. It's just how it looked for me. I said the same thing though. Like y'all pointing out, y'all are making things take precedent other than figuring out what happened to your friend, and it's things that don't have anything to do with getting answers for Nolan, and they have taken precedent. I know that you guys are still living, and you got to live your life, and you don't want to be harassed and all this other shit, but yeah, I think if you guys wanted answers and were showing that you wanted answers, just as, you don't have to be going as hard as the parents, but if you guys were, like, yeah, this is effed up, let's get some answers for Nolan, let's figure out what's going on, what happened to my friend, I think people would be more sympathetic to your plight and what you guys are going through. But that doesn't mean that you guys, that doesn't mean that they're guilty. Just because we don't like the way that they act or the way they present themselves or grieve or not grieve or whatever, that does not mean we're guilty. We cannot convict these young men, bro.
Really odd presentation.
Mm-hmm. This is, let's see. I want to play now them. We discussed the threats. I just talked about the threats. Let's play them discussing the threats, and you tell me your assessment of this, if there's any contradiction, or if it is, if you think that it is solid and on point. Here it is.
Can you give me some examples of what has happened? Have you guys had things happen online, threats online? Have you guys have any examples of people accosting you or anything like that?
Oh yeah, we have had countless death threats online. Been spotted. I'll let you elaborate more on that. Being spotted.
People have obviously just pointed us out.
That motherfucker said, do you want to elaborate more on that? Look right at him like.
As a group and even on a one-on-one setting, I think it's really just like awkward because I don't want to talk about this, and I know my friends don't want to talk about this any more than we need to. We're still mourning one of our best friends' death, and it's hard to speak about it when, you know, like sometimes we this and I know my friends have had encounters in public. My dad, my mom, just everyone. It's unbelievable where like this has been taken to and the level where this is at.
When you say you've been called out in public, can you give me an example of like, what do you mean? People are threatening you with weapons? People are, you know, not allowing you, deny you service? Because I heard that Trayston, he went to a corner store and they told him his money is not good there. They wouldn't even let him buy Gatorade.
Yeah.
Are you experiencing things like that or something totally different?
Right. I wouldn't say like that. I think I haven't been denied, you know, anything, but like Trayston, it's hard to hear from a good friend of mine that he's getting denied a Gatorade and a Red Bull before work and having
Okay, pause this real quick.
Like
this stood out to me because Trayston is like, you know, their black friend. He's describing the anyways, we can talk about that. I just want to point that out here. And the other thing is that he said that he, now it is true. I believe his stepmom, who's a judge, right? Is his stepmom a judge? She has received a threat, I believe, and there has been some sort of legal action around it. Okay, let's continue on.
He's like, dude, you won't believe what just happened. He got called out at Walmart. Someone called him out at Walmart and was like asking him all these questions and trying to press him about it. And it's crazy to me. Like, you know, we live in a very tight-knit community, and for people to, you know, push back and say these things when they know what Ocean Springs is like, it's really hard. And I mean, I haven't had many personal encounters, but I know being around the guys and stuff like that, they have, so.
Okay, I mean, people get called out who are not public figures in the Walmart. Like, that was my shit, or what are you doing in here? Yeah, I mean, you know what I'm saying, but go on.
Well, if you go on to me, you're going to play more of the video, because I got a lot.
Hold on now, Don Lemon. Hold on. To be 100% fair, at this point in their life, these young men are public figures. Whether they wanted that or not, the public knows who they are, and they're going to be recognized a lot of places that they go. It just is what it is. So they could get stopped or approached or something like that.
People get called out who are not public figures in the Walmart. Like, that was my shit, or what are you? Okay, I mean, people get called out who are not public figures in the Walmart. Like, that was my shit, or what are you doing in here? Yeah, I mean, you know what I'm saying, but go on.
Well, if you go on to me, you're going to play more of the video, because I got a lot to say about this.
I'm talking about you, Elliot.
Well, okay.
Again, I don't doubt that they feel a certain way, but the team around them should hip them to the realities of the world. But go on.
Well, I think the bigger issue, and just to echo what I said before, they're just very uncomfortable because they went from being anonymous to being public figures overnight, which I acknowledge is incredibly uncomfortable. But there is no specificity to any of those threats. Now, and you're also describing the plight of your one black friend who's being denied Gatorade. Number one, they're acknowledging that has not been any of our experiences. And number two, that is not a threat. Like, so to say like we've been
right, and then who's to say that had anything to do with Nolan Wells? That could have been because somebody saw his skin complexion and said, hey, your money's no good here. We need more clarity. But you know what we really need more clarity on? What happened to Nolan. That's all, bro. That's all. At the end of the day, that's all everybody wants. The media who's condemning these men and convicting them. The media who is just asking questions. Everybody who and
threatened.
Let me.
There's no specificity to those threats. There's never a moment where there was any kind of an alarm. And I heard you say earlier, Don, that you're no stranger to those kind of threats. And
this is the thing. This is what I'm saying. I don't listen to too many other content creators that do similar style content to what we do, right? But all I know is over here, we have remained unbiased when it comes to convicting. Do we give our opinions on what we think? Yes. And there have been opinions spread on both sides of the coin, respectably. Long as they're presented respectfully, cool. Feel how you feel. You're entitled to that as a human. And it doesn't matter your race. But I haven't seen any platforms All I'm gonna say is this: on either side of the coin, the majority, 99% of the platforms that are covering this have been one-sided. Maybe 97. There has to be somebody else in the world that's doing this. That's, you know, I'm gonna say 95% of the platforms covering this have been one-sided. No matter what side of the coin you fall on, you either and then it gets so disgusting, right? Because the platforms that are in favor of the young men, the majority, not all of them, but the majority of the platforms that are not focusing on Nolan Wells' death and rooting for the young men, their crowd is so hateful. Their crowd is so hateful, and they say such hateful things in the comments. So full of negativity and disgusting activity. Your hearts are so evil. Y'all such pieces of shit. Like, you wake up and you see these, like, look in the comments, and it's so much hate. Like, god damn. I know y'all motherfuckers be on the verge of cardiac arrest. Cause y'all motherfuckers cardiac. Y'all got so much hate in y'all goddamn heart. Yeah.
And unfortunately, nor am I. And I'm also very aware that if
calling the man the man is deceased, and then calling the man all kind of stuff, and people who looking for answers, you calling them all kind of racist names out the blue, and all just like, god damn.
I call the police, which I've had to do because people have put my personal information online, the police will say, without any specific threat, we really can't do anything. So so there was absolutely no specificity to those threats at all. And one of the things that really drives me nuts, and I've said this before, and for some reason, a certain demographic of people have an incredibly hard time hearing what I'm about to say. Those three young men, they're all from Ocean Springs, Mississippi, but they're not from the same Ocean Springs, Mississippi. Because your racial experience, your socioeconomic experience, your experiences determine what your experience is in that place. So like Nolan being a person of color and these young men they're not really from the same place. So when they're like, we're from Ocean Springs and it's not like this, well, it's not like that for you, but you can't say that it's not like that for other people because you don't have the experiences from other people based upon your racial makeup, your socioeconomic status, your mother's employment status, your father's employment status, et cetera, et cetera. So when they're talking about like how great of this is the Ocean Springs community, it's like, but that's not really real because that's just your experience of the community, which is informed by many different factors that you might not be experiencing. It could be just as likely that Trayston kid wasn't given Gatorade because the people in the store racially didn't want to give him Gatorade. But you don't have that experience. That's not the way that you grew up, and you are not able to see it, but you should be able to empathize with it. And the biggest alarm of all of this is there is no empathy for the Black experience in this story. There's no empathy for the parents in this story. And to me, it is just incredibly frustrating, to say the least.
Okay. Thank you for that, sir. Now, we talked about the threats. Okay, and then the other things about defamation. This is the attorney. I was like, when I was told that they did an interview with the attorney and I read about it, and I was like, well, the attorney's not in there. But then as it turns out, the guy on the end is the attorney. I thought it was like an older friend or, someone who was like a fisherman who owned a boat or whatever. But apparently this is their attorney. And this is the former Trump attorney, I think, or defamation attorney. And so this is what they're saying about threats of slander and defamation. Here it is.
What's been said about Morgan, Jax, and Warren, I'm not going to call them untruths or half-truths or falsehoods.
Damn.
I'm going to call it what it is, lies.
I ain't see. Hold on. I was
The
doing
first
that
thing
before. He talking
that's
about
really
shit,
important
this
here
shit.
is we're
Hold
dealing
on.
with lies and liars.
Let's see. I might have to turn
We're
it back
dealing
on.
with profiteers. We're dealing with hustlers. And one thing that I've seen since I got here is that Ocean Springs, Mississippi, is a really beautiful place. And the region is very beautiful. It's one of the most beautiful places in the country. And there is just no question. The death of Nolan Wells is a horrendous tragedy. But for the tragedy to then be magnified after his death for no reason other than profit is a disgrace, or what we would call a shanda.
Let's see what happened.
And
I'm on the chat too. I'm on the chat too.
I had the opportunity to go to Horn Island today with Tyler and Warren and Jax. And a lot of people who have been sucking up way more oxygen than they're entitled to have not been to the island. Flyers have not been to that island. It was revelatory. It was really illuminating. It's a very dynamic marine environment, first of all. What some people want to be true, what they wish to be true. They're trying to wish it to be true. They're trying to make it true through their lies. It's actually not possible. It is a very, very long and narrow barrier island. It's basically it's hardly any foliage. And on July 4th, there were thousands of people there. Anybody could have committed a murder in broad daylight and was just swamped with people that day. And
Elliot?
Well, I have no problem with what he's saying. He's their attorney and he's trying to position a story. That's what attorneys do. Attorneys will attorney. But the content of what he's saying, the content of what he's saying is just incredibly odd. Because if you're saying like it's this narrow island and it was really populated, there's just no possible way that anybody could have killed anyone without somebody seeing anything, then it's also true due to the same factors. It's very populated, there's lots of people there, small island, that there's no possible way that he could have just disappeared and died without anybody seeing anything. So it's what he's saying is just factually odd to me. And also, I think through their privilege, they're misunderstanding a black person's call for justice as a black person's call for punishment. And justice, like these are just people that are seeking the truth, in particular the family of Nolan Wells, and he is demonizing them for doing so instead of acknowledging we don't know what happened to Nolan Wells. No one knows what happened to Nolan Wells.
Damn, I basically made the same point as this guy. Should I go be a fucking psychoanalyst or something? I'm just bullshitting. But that is, I mean, it's the obvious truth though. I mean, it's the obvious. I won't say. It is the truth, and it's the point. Like this is exactly what's going on. The people just want answers for their deceased son.
And if you're going to tell us that there are all these people there and they definitely would have seen a murder, then they definitely would have also seen an accidental drowning. They definitely would have seen some kid disappear. So why is one thing true and not the other? And also, the last thing I'll say about this is this accusation of like profiteering and outright lying. When you sit in a position of privilege, you literally can't see anything beyond your own perspective. So they can't see that there are other things driving people, like community support for Nolan Wells and his family. Like being very, very tired of suspicious black deaths always being ruled, there's no foul play here. They can't see that the black community is just tired of injustice overall. They can't see that trauma has a compounding factor to it. Like when you go to school, you study trauma, you understand that trauma compounds. So the black community has been dealing with compounding trauma in America for literally hundreds of years. So maybe instead of thinking, oh my God, all these people are profiteering, maybe.
Facts. That will help prove my innocence. If I'm willing to sit down and be questioned by the people that think I'm guilty because I know I'm innocent, that's going to make people fall back and start second, you know what? That dude, he couldn't have had nothing to do. Man, I would love to sit down. If I know for sure I'm innocent, I would love to sit down in front of somebody who thinks I'm guilty and I have to tell them I'm innocent for an interview. You know what I mean? Not like some court shit. I mean, people go through that and injustice happens. I'm talking about the court of public opinion type of, come do that. I agree.
Maybe you should be thinking, maybe they're just exhausted. Maybe we're just tired. And this is just like one more thing on the mountain of social injustice that the black community has to deal with. But now we have a weapon that previous communities or previous generations have not had. And that is social media. We have the ability to use our voices. We have the ability to gather ourselves together. We have the ability to jump on live with Don Lemon and speak our truth.
How they ducking how's the mama ducking interviews when the mama done did 3 interviews, 3 interviews and press conferences? The mama ain't ducking no interviews. The mama ain't the one who owe interviews. The mama ain't the one in question. The mama wasn't there when the son died. The mama didn't leave their friend. The mama didn't leave her son on an island when they were together and with the phone and the car keys. So what you're saying makes no sense.
Truth We have the immunity, the ability to have a community and use our voices in collective. And I don't think that they like that. So what they're trying to do is discredit those voices. Like, oh, those people aren't speaking the truth, and they're not speaking from a position of desire. They're only doing this for profiteering, or they're lying, or whatever. When the truth is, no, we are very credible, and we just want justice for Nolan Wells and his family. And if you have a hard time seeing that,
for real, that's such an idiotic response to say, well, the mom should sit in front of the interview. Are you dumb?
perhaps that's because of your privilege. And privilege is blinding. If there's one thing I've learned recently in the past decade or so, privilege blinds. And when you are blind, you can't see it. And they can't see it.
And not understanding, for me, the place where the place within the place, or the place.
I love when you got so much hate in you that it exposes your stupidity.
Just outside that surrounds the place that you live in. I grew up in Louisiana. And if someone said, if I said, look, in my little place here, everybody's fine, it's all cool, that doesn't dismiss the history of Louisiana.
It does not. No.
And, you know what I'm saying? There's that history is very real. Now, whether it has anything to do with it or not, it's certainly part of the story. Do you understand what I'm saying? And to not be aware of that, to me, is just, I guess it shouldn't be mind-boggling when you consider what's happening with, the erasure of DEI.
My bad. That person's name is With All Due Respect. So I shouldn't have said, I should have used another word instead of stupidity. I would say that your point of view is only rooted in contention. For you to bring up the mother having to do interviews to be questioned about what happened to Nolan Wells, about the suspicious death of her son. I think your point is only rooted in contention. You just want to have an opposing thought and but what about this and what about that? And it was absolutely wrong.
People now wanting people to understand that,
she's not a suspect. There's nothing suspicious that the mother did that would call for her to have to answer questions about the death of her son. That's why I initially used the word stupid, which I retracted, and I want to change my statement into, in my opinion, your statement was rooted only in contention and to be a contrarian. You didn't think that through, because why would the mother need to be questioned about this mysterious death and she wasn't there?
The 20 to something young white men are having such a hard time.
No, now you're wrong. Go back. You asked why wouldn't never mind. All right. Yeah. The first word might have been correct.
Because of whatever is going on in the world, but then not understanding that black people are having a hard time because of the hundreds of years of history that prefaces that. You get what I'm saying? Like,
but
you
that's what I'm trying to say.
Understand something that is a fairly new phenomenon that they believe, rather than the entire history of hundreds of years.
But that's exactly what I was saying before, is we're not all from the same place, even if we grew up geographically the same. Like, I grew up just outside of Boston, Massachusetts. My childhood very, very best friend is a white guy. And he had a hard time seeing. He was with me every step. We spent every day together through high school, and he saw racial injustices happen. And then you fast forward several years, and the Donald Trump thing starts, and all the...
Lance Holloway says he said they should want to sit in front of someone who believes he's guilty. Who should that be? His mother, father, lawyer? The local news are supposed to be neutral.
Racial injustice starts popping off in America, even worse than before. And he was saying to me, like, but these things are happening because you were black, as if he couldn't see it. And that's when I realized, like, he just can't see it, because even though we're both from the same geographical location, we did not have the same experiences within that geographic.
With all due respect, you cool, man. I'm done with it. You got it.
Location, and his privilege blinded him to the experiences of other people, mostly because it's uncomfortable. Like, we don't want to see it. It's hard to talk about. It's hard to justify. It's hard to say that it's...
He cool. But I'm just saying he got it. Like, we ain't even gotta... You got it, bro. Okay. Hold on now. Hold on. Now I gotta read because it says I literally said they not ducking interviews. I didn't say she isn't ducking interviews. No. Earlier, I'm not gonna do the petty screenshot and go find it shit, but earlier in one of your comments, when that was stated, you can it doesn't. Okay. Anyway, regardless, shout out to you, bro. We ain't even finna go through all that. And Boss Dog Life says I said she's ducking interviews. Okay, well, Boss Dog Life, I say, why would the mother need to do interviews, bro? Take the questions that I don't know if you were here, or if you were, salute. If not, well, shit, you didn't hear it then. Why would the mother need to do interviews? First of all, she's already done 2, maybe 3. They've already done 2 for sure, possibly 3. They've already done press conferences. Why would the mother need to be interviewed if she's not the one who has suspicion involving the death of her son? Anything outside of the death of her son is irrelevant at this point. We don't care about her dealings with Ben Crump. We don't care about none of that. What we care about is getting results to figure out what happened to Nolan Wells. That's what we care about. Mike from the Ville, Mike from the Ville says, they not ducking interviews. The mama is. Your exact words. That's what I thought, but I'm going to let it go. I'm going to let it go because that's what I thought. I was going to go back and screenshot it and be petty and put it on the screen where you said, but it's not that serious. You understand? Uruga World, what up? But I'm trying to understand. He said, Boss Dog says, I wasn't, my bad, but to keep the agenda, hold on, let me slow down. He said, I wasn't, my bad, but to keep the agenda, it's a controlled interview. She has to answer why she said she didn't speak to the boys when they called her the same day. Hold on now. Who got an answer for that? Does anybody have an answer for that? Anon says, my question is, why the friend pick up the phone? What was the... Oh, was that when the evidence was deleted and was the friend's mom having an affair with him? With all due respect, says the mama is ducking talking to them. Talking to who? The friends? Yo, Slim, I don't know why it's doing that. All right, y'all.
It's happening, but it is happening, and it's happening right here. Like
we about to go to a very controversial guy.
Absolutely saying that people who are advocating for justice of Nolan Wells are liars, profiteers. You have to go to Horn Island in order to see this. It's like we don't have to go anywhere in order to see racial injustice, and we don't have to go anywhere in order to use our voices as a collective to say not one more Black death under suspicious circumstances will be tolerated. Period. We just want justice. Do with that what you will. We just want justice for this kid and his family.
Here we go. Here we go. This is the part of the show where some people might leave. I understand. Some people might expose some hatred. you'll be booted. I mean, we can have opposing thoughts. Hold on. First and foremost, let me say this. This is not a flock of birds. This is not a herd of cows or a herd of sheep. It's not a school of fish. Nobody turns when one person says turn over here. Nobody goes when one person says go over here. Everybody over here has their own mind. You're entitled to like and dislike who or whatever it is. You're entitled to your own opinions. We just ask that no matter how the content is presented, we ask that you keep it respectful. We have listened to a lot of opposing thoughts over here on all sides of the board. Things that some of us, including me, hate to hear. Things that some of the people spectating and that may be a part of the network may not necessarily agree with or hate to hear, but we deal with it gracefully, civilly, and respectfully. Right? If you can't do that, this is the part of the show where I'm going to ask you to leave. Feel how you want to feel. You don't have to like what this guy is probably about to say. Some of it may be a bit edgy. I know how he can get. And this is from either side. I don't give a damn what your race is. You know how many black people hate this motherfucker? I'm just telling you, if y'all just be respectful with how you present your comments. Me, and with all due respect, just had a disagreement. I feel like the motherfucker even lied and backtracked on his words or forgot what he said. I don't know. But anyway, we did it respectfully. You feel what I'm saying? This is how we can agree to disagree around here. We don't have to love each other. We don't have to like each other. But we got to be able to coexist. We all live on this big rock that we call Earth. None of us ain't going nowhere because none of us is ready to throw it all away and do something to each other to get rid of everybody, right? None of us has that much hate in that heart anyway, right? None of us wake up like, oh, anybody who doesn't look this skin color shouldn't be alive. Nobody feels that fucking much hatred and stupidity, do they? If so, please, once again, remove yourself. But this has to be it doesn't have to be said, but this is a polarizing guy, whether you like or dislike him. He captivates a crowd and he has a very strong opinion, and we're going to listen to it. Feel free to express your opinions as long as you are civil, adult, and respectful. Let's go.
And that's one of the biggest reasons, Art, I kind of stood back. It almost reminded me of the Freddie Gray police unaliving in Baltimore back during the Barack Obama era. When Freddie Gray lost his life to those police in Baltimore, everybody rushed.
Boss Dog, I appreciate you. Jimbo Slice, what up? Did I say a herd of cattle? What I say, cow or cattle? You said shadow. What's CHATT? That's some shit I didn't know. You might be putting me on something, but shout out to you, Jimbo. What's up, Anon? What'd he say? Boss Dog, they refuse to talk to the Tatum has the emails. Hold on. So you saying the mother should sit down with Tatum? I think Tatum, I think they don't want to sit down with him based on, first and foremost, they aren't the ones who are of any suspicion of anything. Tatum don't have a missing son, a deceased son. So Tatum doesn't get the right to say who needs to sit down and speak and all this other shit. He can help who he wants to help, but the parents don't owe any explanation for shit. Their son is dead and they don't have answers. That's just my opinion. The parents don't owe nobody no fucking explanation when they're grieving. And they don't know how to deal with what looks like, what appears to be foul play, what seems to be a mystery, and we're not getting no answers. Only thing I know to do is to go get somebody who seems to get attention and answers. Even if you feel like it's the wrong person, it's a person, motherfucker, because I need help. My son is missing. Who the fuck do I need to sit down and explain anything to? I need the motherfucking answers. What are y'all talking about? Hell no.
To Baltimore. They did the same thing with Michael Brown and Ferguson. Not because they necessarily cared about the tragedy, but because they wanted to benefit personally.
Shout out to Baltimore City. What up, Marie? What up, Mike from the Ville? What up, Boss Dog Life? What up, Anon? What up, Slim John? Who? Slim John? I'm about to shout out the top 10 in a few minutes. Matter of fact, let me go ahead and shout out the top 10 now. Let's do it. Let's do it right now. Number 1, we got Slim Jones McEasy. Let's go. That boy number 1. Number 2, we got Mike from the Ville. Let's go. Number 3, we got Nurse Lady T. Let's go. Number 4, we got Big Mac. Number 5, we got Anonymous 1. Number 6, we got Driller 2623. Number 7, we got Jeffrey Gunner. Number 8, we got RS11. Number 9, we got Boss Dog Life, Boss Dog. And number 10, we got Activate the Activists. Let's go. And then honorable mention, number 11 and 12, because I see him. Usually it's just number 11, but I can see 11 and 12 today. Lone Ranger, shout out to you. And Marky2158, shout out to motherfucking Marky2. Let's go. But hold on before we get into any of that. We done reached the 50 like threshold, man. Y'all get on my damn nerve. Y'all so aggravating. Aggravating as hell, man. Y'all so aggravating, dog. Y'all so damn aggravating, but y'all so appreciated. Shout out to y'all. 50 likes. Let's go. We done aggravated the algorithm today. Super duper salute to y'all. And we ain't even asked for none. We ain't asking for likes. We ain't asked for, we definitely ain't grifting over here. We ain't even grifting likes. We ain't, hey, y'all hit the like. We ain't even do that. We ain't ask y'all for no likes. We didn't ask y'all for no donations. Yeah, the $, Rumonati Network, the Rumonati Network on Cash App. Yeah, it's up there. It's going to stay up there. $, the Rumonati Network on Cash App. Yeah, it's going to stay up there, but we ain't asked one time. We ain't say, hey, make sure y'all hit the donation. Well, make sure to, no, bro. So leave with the grifting. Leave with all the excuses and the bias and we want this and no. We just want the information out there, bro. And you make your own opinion. But do we appreciate the donations and all that? Yeah. But that ain't what this bout. That ain't what this bout. But let me shout out the chat. Hold on, man. Let me shout out the most aggravating chat in the game, man. Y'all so aggravating, dog. Y'all get on my nerve. Damn, y'all get on my nerve. Y'all so aggravated, dog. Shout out to y'all. Y'all so aggravating, but y'all so appreciated. The most aggravating chat in the game. Most appreciated chat in the world. Let's go. Boss Dog Light says, I think it has more to do with the girl than the boys. Supposedly multiple people seen him after the boat left and others seen him in the water with the girl. Slim Jones says, oh, I just noticed how you spelled my name. Lance Holloway says, if the races were switched, the story would be over already. Anon shouting out Slim, Mikey, Anon. What's up, Jenny from the block? Let's go. Is that Stephanie Shrill? Stephanie is real. It's going to be a little battle, but we can do it. What she said we can do. Them boys is not going to release them secret videos. That's federal land. Damn, Slim Jones says, oh, nah, I was referring to Lance Holloway. What happened? Shout out to Lance. Jenny from the block, what up with it? Lance says, it don't really look like foul play. In your opinion, we're all entitled to our own opinions, Lance. It may not look foul to you. And let me ask you this, Lance. If you were the parent to a deceased child and you haven't gotten answers from toxicology, autopsy, detectives, anything in 30 days and your child is just deceased, are you going to be pleased with the answers? Are you just going to sleep peacefully and go on about your day? Let me ask you that. Just a question. If you had a dead kid, if your child was dead, your child came up missing and this doesn't look questionable then? No answers? Nobody had, I'm just wondering. But shout out to you though. Shout out to Baltimore City. Shout out Marie. Let's go Baltimore City. Slim Jones says Umar is that guy. Anom says opinions are like assholes. Everybody has one and they all stink. Like the critic says, it stinks. Mike from the Ville says that's her choice. She don't have to talk to the kids. Does look a little bit suspicious to not want to talk to the accused. Still has nothing to do with her kid being found deceased. Facts. Hold on. Everybody don't want to face the people that, like, some people can't face it. I feel like she probably quote unquote strong enough to, or whatever. I don't know, but then again, you never know. We also saw the police officer that shot the young man and killed him. I think his parents were Haitian. We saw her be strong enough to go up and give the young lady a hug and say, God bless her and we forgive her. And also made the son, I think the 15-year-old brother and son also hugged that lady. So yeah, people are different. We can't expect everybody to react the same, especially when you have a dead child. That's all. Mike from the Ville says, motherfuckers get on the net and lie. If so, you suck as a parent if you don't want justice for your kid. Oh, we got her out of there at the same time, Mike. Shout out to you. Boss Dog says that's why she needs to talk to them. At least a lawyer talk to them. Find the holes in the story instead of letting Crump and Sharpie get richer for doing nothing. Anon says, Johnny, you have to prestige to level 100. Invite it to the sky. Get them out of here. Shout out to the most aggravating chat in the game. Most appreciated chat in the world. All right, guys. This might stir the pot. Hopefully no one's offended. This is just one man's thoughts. Feel free to express your thoughts, but hopefully you can do it respectfully or you can get the fuck out of here. Because one thing we can't do is control everything that's within the content. Of course, we can control what we watch, but we can't control everything that's contained within the content. Like I said, we have watched things over here that have been non-pleasing to what the majority of us that are a part of the network and the channel. And also we have watched things that may have upset the crowd. So this is just one of them days. Feel how you feel. Just as long as you respond or react respectfully, you can voice your opinion. Let's go.
From it. And so I stayed away from Ferguson. I stayed away from Baltimore. And I stayed away from the Nolan Wells situation for a while because I didn't want to look like so many other people who just jumped in to have something to say, to use that young man's loss of life for clickbait and views. Now that it's been over a month since he lost his life, I think it's okay for me to speak now because everyone else has kind of given their opinion, their analysis, their synopsis, and their feeling on the situation. So I'm going to give mine. First of all, Nolan Wells, Javon, and I want Javon to hear this, and I want any other black person who was on Devil Horns Island that day to hear this. And I want any black person who was celebrating the 4th of July to hear this. No black person, no black freedman, no black immigrant, no member of the black race at all should have been celebrating July 4th, 2026. No one should have been celebrating America's 250th solar return. And why? Because our ancestors were still enslaved on July 4th, 1776. So why are we on White Devil Horns Island anyway?
Oh my God, this nigga here just said the worst shit. The fuck?
Celebrating George Washington and Thomas Jefferson and Alexander Hamilton and all these other white supremacists and slave masters. Why are we even celebrating them?
He's not wrong about the history. I'm just talking about the edginess of the choice of words, which some of you guys listening may agree, some of you guys don't. That's your choice. The history is, he's not lying about the history though.
Anyway, Nolan shouldn't have been out there. Javon shouldn't have been out there. No black person should have been celebrating the 4th of July, period. we would be enslaved for almost another century after America got her independence. So what are we celebrating for? To celebrate the 4th of July as an African is to celebrate the enslavement of your ancestors and the freedom of your slave masters. It makes no sense. Now, with that being said, I'm not blaming Nolan in any way, shape, form, or fashion for his loss of life. I'm just simply saying he shouldn't have been out there. Now let's take a closer look at this, Art. According to what I'm seeing, what I'm hearing, and what I've read, Nolan, Warren, Wyatt, and Trayston left for Horn Island the morning of July 4th. According to Warren's own words that he offered during an interview with Officer B.T. Coon, that's Coon as in C-U-N-E, Coon as in K-H-E-W-N, Coon as in K-U-H-N, Coon as in C-O-N-N. So Warren did a sit down with Officer B.T. Coon. And as we all know, B.T. Coon is White YouTube's pet monkey. He's White YouTube's pet monkey. So Warren sat down for an interview with White YouTube's pet monkey. And he said that they left for Horns Island the morning of July the 4th, and that it was approximately 30 of them spread across 3 boats. Approximately 30 youth spread across 3 boats. They all went to Horn Island together. They arrived at approximately 11:30. So they left around 9-ish, 8, 9-ish, whatever the case may be. They left the morning of July 4th. They arrived on White Devil's Horn Island at about 11:30. So 3 boats.
This, bruh, just
30 youth. They went together. I'm not clear on whether the 3 boats came back together or not. That's another question that I have, Art. Did they come back together the same way they left together? Because I'm treating all 30 of those white youth and all 3 of those ships as crime scenes and as suspects. All 3 ships are potential crime scenes. All 3 boats are potential crime scenes, and all 30 youth are potential suspects. I don't know why Jackson County Sheriff Ledbetter or Jackson County District Attorney Mulrath, I don't know why they decided to separate the boat that Nolan was on. Warren's boat, I don't know why they separated that boat from the other 2 for purposes of investigation and analysis. Because those 3 boats operated as a team. And since they went out there as a team, and it hasn't been made clear to me whether or not they came back together as a team, all 30 white youth and all 3 boats should have been part of this investigation, not just the 1 boat. That is my first big issue with this case. Who decided to separate the other 2 boats and the other 20 or so youth? I got a problem with that, Art, because according to the Cajun Navy, they have no GPS information on the other 2 boats, Art. They have no GPS information on the other 2 boats. Now let's get into this. According to Warren and Nolan's other so-called white friends, they decided to leave the island around 4:30. So they were roughly on White Devil's Horn Island from 11:30 to 4:30. That is about 5 hours. Now, one question that has to be asked, Art, why did y'all leave so soon? Because they party on Horn Island all day long. Y'all didn't leave at sunset. Y'all didn't leave at sundown. Y'all left after only being there 5 hours. That's a little suspicious, Art. And I haven't heard anybody ask any of them, why did y'all decide to leave after only being there for 5 hours? Did y'all?
So Umar must not know about the case because the boat, fool, what are you talking about? It was supposed to be the boat. Supposedly the boat. Let me go past this part. If he's still talking about why they there, shut up.
Nolan ever tell Trayston was his best friend? I'm not going to question Javon, because he's a brother. And I do believe that there's a strong chance that they may have been best friends. And I say that not only because Javon is a brother, Art, but I also felt that Javon, through the investigation team and alley-oop, with some of the answers that he gave on TMZ. Some of Javon's answers, in my opinion, kind of made it clear to me he actually cared about Nolan. he actually cared about Nolan. I believe Javon actually cared about Nolan. And because of that, I'm willing to say that Javon may have actually been Nolan's best friend. I wish somebody would have asked Javon, Art, to your knowledge, has Nolan ever called Warren his best friend? Has Nolan ever called Tristan his best friend? To your knowledge, Javon, has Nolan ever told you that Warren and Tristan were best friends of his? Because, Art, I'm having a problem with this three best friend narrative.
Thank you, bro.
Okay?
Thank you, bro. I've been saying this shit from everybody, his best fucking friend.
I used to be 18 years old. You might have one best friend. You may have two. Don't get me wrong. If you all hang in a pack, you could have three best friends. But according to Javon's own words, Art, he didn't really hang around with them other guys too much. That's what I allegedly thought I heard him say. He didn't hang around with them guys too much. So if you got 2 or 3 or 4 best friends, you guys normally travel as a group. Javon seemed like he kind of spent most of his time with Nolan alone, just the two of them, not with Tristan and Warren. Although he knew them, it didn't appear that he hung out with them on the regular. So one of the reasons that Katie is making her window so wide is she trying to leave a little bit of wiggle room for Warren and them to get their story straight, allegedly. I think Katie trying to leave a little bit of wiggle room for Warren and them to get their story straight, Art. Now, according to our sister Christine, and my heart goes out to Sister Christine, Nolan's mother. My heart deeply, deeply goes out to you, Queen. According to Christine, Art, she heard from a coach who ran into Nolan on the island as well. And according to the coach, he spoke to Nolan between 2:30 and 3:30. So Javon didn't see him after 3:40. The coach spoke to him sometime between 2:30 and 3:30. And Katie said her conversation with Nolan was between 3 and 4:30. So you know what that means, Art? We can pretty much conclude that Nolan was likely to have been unalived, Art, sometime within the hour of 3:30 to 4:30. I'm going to insinuate that Nolan's life was taken because I do not believe he accidentally drowned. If he drowned, he was forcibly drowned. And we'll get to that in a minute. If Nolan drowned, he was forcibly drowned. He did not accidentally drown. He was a great swimmer. Miss me with the nonsense. That boy did not drown. If he drowned, it was by force. So again, Art, all 3 of these people, arguably the last 3 to see him alive, except for those who took his life, Katie, the coach, and Javon, are arguably the last 3 people to see Nolan alive, except for those who took his life on that boat, allegedly. That's my position. So they're all basically cutting off around 3:30, Art. Remember, they made the call for the emergency CTO at 4 o'clock. Javon said he cut out 3:40. The coach, 3:30. They made the call at 4 o'clock. That conversation we heard, the CTO call, which we're going to talk about in a minute, that took place at 4. It sounded like there was some struggling going on in the background. Nolan could have been getting unalived while they were making the call, Art. Nolan could have been getting unalived while they were making the call. Nolan could have been getting choked out while they was on the phone with Cito. So again, Art, my position is Nolan lost his life somewhere within the hour of 3:30 to 4:30. Now, before we go,
Didn't somebody say a witness say they saw Nolan at 6? And I see y'all in the chat talking about Booger Sugar, right? And Umar just happened to rub his nose and be hyped up when you're
on with Cito.
Right.
So again, Art, my position is Nolan lost his life somewhere within the hour of 3:30 to 4:30. Now, before
just ironic, it's just ironic. I'm not implying anything. It's just ironic that the conversation is going in the chat is about possible Booger Sugar, and then this motherfucker just happened to look how hyped up he is. I'm just talking shit, y'all. I'm just talking shit. Shout out Umar, and these is all jokes, motherfucker.
Life somewhere within the hour of 3:30 to 4:30. Now, before we go any further, Art, I need Ben Crump investigation team and Sheriff Ledbetter's investigation team to have a conversation with Javon, because according to Javon's statements on TMZ, the police
She talking about sugar rub. You see how he did it?
Never spoke to him. And I have serious concerns with the manner in which this investigation has been carried out so far, Art. I have very serious concerns with the manner in which this investigation has been carried out so far. So anyway, Javon said police never spoke with him. Why? We need a conversation with Javon, not because I think he's a suspect. I believe Javon is innocent, but we need to find out what he knows. That's number one. We also need a conversation, Art, with the coach. Who is this coach that Sister Christine said contacted her and told her he had a conversation with Nolan on the island between 2:30 and 3:30? We need to find out what he knows. And according to Katie's sister, she is already cooperating with the authorities. But here's why those three got to be spoken to, Art. Not only so we find out what they know, Art, but did they see each other during their conversation with Nolan? Because Javon, if you was talking to Nolan and left him at 3,
yeah, run the likes up. We can run the likes up on this. We all over the other shit. We can run the likes up on this. Run the likes up. Hit the super chat. $, the Rumonati Network on Cash App. All that. We open now. Umar with the bullshit. I ain't gonna lie. I'm not watching Umar with the seriousness as I was with that interview. And it's a little more. I ain't gonna lie. It's a whole different segment. Shout out Umar and all that. No disrespect. Man, listen here.
3:40. And if Katie was talking to Nolan sometime between 3 and 4:30, and if the coach was talking to...
I ain't gonna lie. My dog done been wrong like 2 times already in this little bit of time we've been watching. He done been wrong like twice. I just want to hear what he got to say, though.
Nolan between 3:30 and 4:30, Art, at least 2 of you should have ran into each other. Did the coach see Javon? Did Javon see the coach? Did the coach see Katie? Did Katie see the coach? Did Katie see Javon? Did the coach see Katie? Art, if all 3 of them are saying they saw Nolan for the last time, roughly within the same hour and a half, Art, did y'all run into each other? Let me tell you why I'm asking this question, Art. And I'm not throwing no shade at my brother Javon. I like Javon. I'm not throwing no shade at Miss Katie McCormick. I don't know her. I'm not throwing no shade at the coach, Art. But the reason I need to know why all y'all put y'all time within the same frame and you may have not
Is that not what I asked?
Possibly seen one another, Art. Are you guys keeping yourself out of the window of witnessing this crime by saying you didn't see him after 3:30? I want you to follow what I'm saying here, Art. It's kind of interesting that they all saw him last at 3:30. Not after 3:30. Javon 3:40, roughly 3:30. My point is, Art, for all 3 of them to have the same exact time, if they did not see each other at all during these conversations with Nolan, are they pushing up the window of time during which they saw Nolan so they cannot be included in this investigation as a witness to a crime? In other words, Art, I don't think Javon had nothing to do with it. I know he didn't. But is he saying he saw Nolan a little earlier than he saw him so he can't be pulled into the investigation? I don't think Katie had nothing to do with the crime, but is Katie putting her conversation with Nolan a little earlier than it actually took place to make sure she can't be dragged into the investigation as a witness to a crime?
He swear he's spitting to her. And could it possibly be?
I'm not saying he's innocent. I'm not saying he's guilty, but I got a few questions for you, Warren. Since you could sit down and leave him on an island. Nolan's best friend, and Warren even called Nolan his brother, Art. He even called him his brother. He said they spent the night together before they went out to White Devil's Horn Island, Art. The night before, July 3rd, they stayed in the same home. How do you stay in the same home with somebody, Art, and leave them on an island? How do you sleep in the same house with somebody July 3rd and then leave them on an island July 4th? But I got a few questions for Warren. No disrespect. I'm not saying he's innocent. I'm not saying he's guilty, but I got a few questions for you, Warren. Since you could sit down and interview with Officer B.T. Coon, I need you to sit down and interview with Dr. Umar Ifa Tunde. So you can sit down and interview with Officer B.T. Coon.
Umar, you clout chasing if you want to sit down and interview with them. You think he'll really? Hold on.
I want you to sit down and interview with Dr. Umar Ifatunde. My first question to Warren. You said that Nolan is a best friend of yours, that he's like a brother. I have a question. If Nolan is your brother and best friend, why did you leave him on that island, especially when you all were drinking? Because somebody put a report out there, Art, that Nolan had been drinking heavily and was intoxicated. Of course, that allegation was dismissed because the coach who contacted Sister Christine confirmed that he spoke to Nolan between 2:30 and 3:30, and Nolan was not intoxicated. Art, one of them. So anyway, Art, they tried to blame it on him being drunk. So he was just a drunk black kid who walked into the water and drowned. That's the narrative they wanted us to swallow. He was just a drunk black kid who walked into the water and drowned. And remember, Art, Sheriff Ledbetter allegedly ruled the case an accidental drowning before he did any investigation. He ruled Nolan's death an accidental drowning before he did any investigation. As far as I'm concerned,
That's right.
That meets the definition of public corruption. As far as I'm concerned, that meets the definition of public corruption. But staying with Warren, Art. Warren, if Nolan is your brother and best friend, why did you leave him on an island without his cell phone and his keys? Why did you take his cell phone and keys back to the mainland? You left him there and took his cell phone and keys back. Can you please explain that to me? What person wants to be 18 while you're thinking about it? You said at 11 o'clock, you called Miss Christine to see if she heard from her son. Warren said, Art, I called Miss Christine to see if she heard from Nolan. She said she had not heard from Nolan. Can I ask you a question, Warren? If you took his phone, how in the hell was his mother supposed to hear from her son when you have the son's phone? Did you tell Miss Christine that you had her son's phone when you called her? I bet you didn't. I bet you didn't. Think about that, Art. He called the mother and asked her if she heard from her son. But he knows she didn't hear from her son, Art, because he has her son's phone. How can the mother hear from Nolan when you have Nolan's cell phone and you left him on an island? And I bet you didn't tell her you had his phone. Because if she knew you had his phone, Art, she would not have had to use Life 360 to find the phone. If you had his phone and you called her at 11 o'clock to see if Nolan was okay, why didn't you tell Nolan's mom you had his phone? Why did my sister Christine and my sister Tashima have to use Life 360 to find their son's phone? Because you playing games.
And then when you bring that point up, somebody will say, that doesn't mean anything. This is the stuff I'm talking about when I say your actions afterwards. That's why nobody feels for those young men. That's why nobody has no sympathy for them being threatened or walking in public and feeling nervous. Oh, people are looking at me. People are walking up to me and saying this and that. We don't have no sympathy for you because of your actions after the occurrence. It seems like you didn't have no sympathy for your friend. And once again, I can't help but, in my opinion, say it seems like there's some foul play involved. Like, why are you guys acting like this? Once again, the same point Umar just brought up. Why aren't you bringing to the mother the fact that you have the phone? Yes, I left him. We have his keys and his phone. Why did she have to use Life 360? That doesn't make anybody, that doesn't raise a hair, raise an ear, raise an eyebrow. Like, wait a minute. Your friend? Now, once again, I don't have a court to convict. I'm not saying these young men are guilty. I'm just saying it looks suspicious. Your activities after the occurrence is what makes people have questions and what makes people not have sympathy for the plight that you're facing now with the so-called threats and the uncomfortable feelings out in public. this is why we don't have sympathy.
You playing games. You playing in our face like we stupid. That's what this is. I don't know if he did it, Art, but he damn sure knows who do. I allege and I believe that all 30 of those white kids on all 3 of them boats know exactly which one of them did it, and the rest of them are covering it up. And guess what, Warren? And the rest of you 30 white kids on those 3 boats, let me explain something to you. Federal hate crimes law, you can go to jail for the rest of your life in case nobody didn't tell you. Federal hate crimes law, you can go to jail for the rest of your life in case nobody told you. Guess what? The Emmett Till Anti-Lynching Act, you can go to jail for up to 30 years. And if Nolan was unalived by more than one person, that constitutes a lynching. That constitutes a lynching. So you can go to jail for up to 30 on the Emmett Till Act. You can go to jail for life on the Matthew Shepard James Byrd Hate Crimes Act. And in the state of Mississippi, Art, if you are an accessory after the fact, not accomplice. Accomplice means you participated in the murder. Accessory means you helped cover it up afterwards.
So the people that they speculate would be, we're not even going to get into that. There's a lot of people that speculated to have been an accessory or to have played a part in this, right? I'll just name a few. The grandfather, allegedly.
If you are an accessory to the...
Who did the grandfather get the phone call from? Captain at Cito, allegedly. They had a personal phone call after the call for help was canceled. Let's just keep going.
Fact, after the fact, Art, you can go to jail for up to 20 years, Mississippi law. So they can go to jail for up to 20 years, Mississippi law. Accessory after the fact, you helped to cover up the crime. You can go to jail for 30 years on the Emmett Till Anti-Lynching Act because more than one of you probably participated in Nolan's unaliving. And under the Matthew Shepard James Byrd Federal Hate Crimes Act, Art, they can go to jail for life. And this is why I need Nolan's step pop and coach to watch what comes out of their mouth and stop trying to help these white kids avoid accountability for what they did to Nolan. Because if the tables will turn, white folks are not going to try to help your child avoid any accountability. So stop the now. Another question I have for Warren. You said you and Nolan been friends since 8th grade. Since 8th grade, Art. But Sister Christine says she don't know none of them kids really, Art. She don't know them white kids. So help me understand how you are Nolan's best friend, friends since 8th grade. You called him your brother. Y'all spent the night together July the 3rd, the morning before y'all went to White Devil's Horn Island. And his mother don't even know who you are. And you said out your own mouth that y'all never hung out at Nolan's house. It's a question of Benjamin Crump. Attorney Benjamin Crump. I met him twice, Art. I met Benjamin Crump the day before I graduated with my doctorate at an Urban League conference in New Orleans. I presented at a workshop at the Urban League conference in New Orleans. This is July of 2012. And I flew back to graduate and get my doctorate in clinical psychology. We had lunch. It's a few of us at the table. We had lunch. Okay. This is around the Trayvon era. And then I met Benjamin Crump again at HBCU Delaware State University about 3 or 4 years ago at the Black Farmers Conference that was put on by one of the black professors there. She invited me to keynote the luncheon, and she switched me out at the last minute for Attorney Benjamin Crump. I understand it was a black bourgeoisie event. I'm not a member of the black bourgeoisie. I got switched out. I understand. No harm, no foul. Ben Crump gave a good speech. But here's my question to Benjamin Crump and Al Sharpton. Here's my question to Benjamin Crump and Al Sharpton, Art. How long are y'all going to wait around before y'all call a spade a spade? How long is Ben Crump and Al Sharpton going to wait around, Art, before they tell the world that they don't think this investigation is being done correctly? How long before Benjamin Crump and Al Sharpton demand that the FBI and Department of Justice take over this investigation? Art, it's been over a month and we know nothing. It's been over a month and we know nothing. Now, let me say this, Art. There's several circumstances through which you can demand the FBI come in and take over an investigation. One of them, Art, if there is a suspicion of public corruption or obstruction of justice, the FBI, the Department of Justice, can come in and take over a case on the suspicion of public corruption or obstruction of justice. So you're going to say, Dr. Umar, what evidence do you have of that? First of all, they declared this an accidental drowning before they did any investigation. That's a cover-up. Not only that, Art, they never treated the boat like a crime scene. They never took a look at the other two boats. We have no information at all on the other two boats. Those 30 white kids should have had their cell phones confiscated, investigated. All their social media should have been investigated. Their homes should have been investigated. They should have all been interrogated. They should have been investigated to see if they or their parents had any connection to any of the white hate groups in the state of Mississippi. None of that was done. They gave the boat back to the owner, Art. They gave the boat back. The boat may have been a crime scene, and they gave it back. Now, according to the Cajun Navy, another question for Ben Crump, Art. According to the Cajun Navy, they offered Ben Crump to put dogs on the boat and let the dogs sniff it out to see if anybody had recently been deceased on that boat or if there had been any blood on that boat. And according to the representative from the Cajun Navy, Ben Crump told him don't do it. So I need Ben Crump, respectfully, I'm not accusing him of nothing, Art, but I need Ben Crump to explain to me why you didn't let them use the dogs to sniff out that boat. Why did you not let them sniff out that boat with them dogs? Did you have your own dogs to sniff out the boat? Because if you didn't, why didn't you let them sniff the boat?
Damn, Ben. Damn, Ben Crump, what you got going?
Out with the dogs. The dogs can tell, Art, if somebody had recently lost their life or if blood had been spilled. He said Ben Crump told him no. I need Ben Crump to explain that. I need Sheriff John Ledbetter to explain why the boat wasn't treated as a crime scene, potential crime scene. I need him to explain why all them white kids wasn't arrested and questioned. Because if it was black kids and a white kid went missing, Art, they would have all been arrested and questioned. You know that. They would have all been arrested and questioned. And then let's talk about the autopsy, Art. Let's talk about the autopsy. So the Mississippi.
I don't think Art asked him one question. If you book Umar, you don't have to have a list of questions to ask him. You probably write down 8 questions and get a 3-hour interview from Umar, long as the money right. Because Umar ain't coming unless you got bread. Umar ain't talking to nobody. He ain't doing nothing if it ain't paying. If it ain't financing the mission, he ain't paying it no attention. But Umar is gonna yap for 30 minutes per question. You could just ask him his name. Where'd you get the name? Umar Ifatunde. Brother Ifatunde was the number one. It's not going to stop.
Mississippi State Medical Examiner, they do their autopsy July 7th, right? July 7th. And then Nolan's mother requested an independent autopsy, as she should have. They send Nolan's body to Washington, D.C. When the black medical examiner gets the Nolan's corpse, Art, the throat tissue and the lung tissue is gone. How is he supposed to determine if Nolan died from being choked out or if Nolan died from drowning if he don't have the throat tissue or the lung tissue, Art? How is he supposed to do his job and y'all didn't send the throat tissue or the lung tissue? And nobody has explained yet whether or not the medical examiner in D.C. is ever going to get the throat tissue or the lung tissue. And I personally believe, Art, Nolan was deceased before he hit the water. I believe Nolan was deceased before he hit the water. And the reason they held on to the throat tissue and the reason they held on to the lung tissue is they didn't want nobody to know that Nolan was murdered before he hit that water. Just like Emmett Till was murdered before he hit that water. Just like Dr. King's brother, A.D. King, was murdered before he hit that water. Remember, Art, when Dr. King's brother was murdered, Reverend A.D. King, they found him in a swimming pool. They ruled it a drowning. And then one of the paramedics said, what, Art? One of the paramedics who took Dr. King's brother out the pool, Art, said he didn't have no water in his lungs. The paramedic said he didn't have no water in his lungs, Art. And plus, A.D. King, just like Nolan, A.D. King, just like Nolan, was a great swimmer, Art. Was a great swimmer. They kept them lungs, I believe. They kept the lungs, Art, because they knew that those lungs would have provided evidence of the fact that Nolan may have been deceased before he hit that water. They kept the throat because it may have shown some trauma that Nolan may have gotten choked out. And then you got the red substance around the back of the head, island with these white kids in his house. They have his phone. They don't know. I know they have his phone. And they just lied to my face and told me that they don't know where the phone is, and the phone is right in there with them. I believe that they are suspects in my son's disappearance, and I want them all arrested. That's what I wish they would have done, Art. I wish they didn't tell them they knew the phone was in there. I wish they would have acted like they didn't know if the phone was in there and just asked them if they saw the phone. And once those white kids lied, I would have called the police, because they never thought anybody was coming for Nolan's phone and keys. They never thought anyone was coming for Nolan's phone and keys because they didn't know Sister Christine had Life 360 on that phone, Art. They did not know that. And I think it is so disrespectful, Art, so racist and so bigoted that white people are filing false reports on Sister Christine's nursing license, Art. She now got to go before the nursing board in Mississippi, Art. Nolan's mother, still grieving the death of her son, she got to go and defend her credentials because white folks are mad that she's demanding justice for her son. This sounds just like Mamie Till Mobley, Emmett Till's mother. They did the same thing to Emmett Till, Art. After they assassinated Emmett Till, they harassed his mother. They sent her all type of threatening phone calls, letters, notices. Here we are, Art. 61 years later, they doing the same thing to Nolan Wells' mom. DC, we need you to switch that march, Art. Al Sharpton, if he cares about justice for Black Mississippi, if Al Sharpton cares about justice for Black Mississippi, Art, he will switch the march from DC to Mississippi. Al Sharpton needs to switch the march from Washington, D.C. to Mississippi. And it's
All right. Shout out to Umar. Shout out to y'all, though. Umar cool, but y'all are better. Let's just keep it at we want answers for Nolan Wells' death. We want answers for Nolan Wells' death. We don't have a court to convict anybody. I'm not going to say those young men are guilty. I will say it does look like foul play. I will say the people don't have any sympathy for your plight after the occurrence because of your actions after the occurrence. Does that make it right? No, but people don't have any understanding for your plight, sirs. Once again, touchy topic. We didn't do too much of the promoting and the hit the likes and the all of that other shit. You know, hopefully tomorrow will be a much lighter day. Tomorrow should be much lighter, you know. But listen, thank y'all. I appreciate y'all. Let me show some love to the top 10 real quick. Number 1, we got Mike from the Ville. Number 2, we got Nurse Lady T. Number 3, we got Anonymous 1. Number 4, we got Slim Jones McEasy. Slim John, who? Slim John. Number 5, we got Stephanie is Real 1. Number 6, we got Lone Ranger 7777 9311 777 93. He actually has 4 sevens. I just only named 3. Big Mac K9X is number 7. Number 8 is Bobby Heenan 99. That was one of my that's like a nostalgic wrestling memory. Bobby the Brain Heenan. Number 9, Driller 2623. And number 10, Jeffrey Gunner Les Mother effing go. Shout out to the top 10. The number 11 and 12, honorable mention, RS1111, and number 12, Boss Dog Life. Super duper salute to y'all. Let's go, man. And shout out to the most aggravating chat in the game, most appreciated chat in the world, man. Y'all so aggravating.
So aggravate.
Y'all so damn aggravating. Y'all been getting on my nerves all day. But shit, shout out to y'all. Y'all so aggravating, but y'all so appreciated, man. Y'all so appreciated. So appreciated. Most aggravating chat in the game. Most appreciated chat in the world. Always keeping shit lit. Always keeping shit live. Always being able to conduct y'all selves, even if we using cuss words and shit, and like, oh, I hate this mother effer. Still not calling like, hey dude that I'm disagreeing with, you particularly are a bitch. No, it ain't shit like that. It just be, what the fuck are you talking about? You gotta be fucking crazy, blah, blah, blah. All that. We can have passionate conversations, right? We can agree to disagree, and it may be passionate, but it don't get personal. I respect that. But when you come in here taking personal digs and try to be racist and all that shit, you gotta get the fuck up out of here, bro. Because some of us, yeah, listen, everybody, I understand everybody wanting better for the people that look like them. That's just human fucking nature. But that doesn't mean that you have to hate or want worse for people that don't look like you at the same fucking time. You ignorant, hateful son of a bitch. If you're mad because someone else exists and you're simply upset because they don't share the same skin complexion or religious ideology or whatever the fuck it is, tax bracket, and you're upset that they're alive, or you don't think that they deserve food and water and shelter and justice just because of that type of shit, then fuck you, move on. This ain't the place for you. I'm black. Of course I want the best for black people. Of course I want justice and all that shit. But nigga, I don't hate white people. The fuck? I don't hate Spanish people. The fuck? I don't hate Chinese or name any other ethnicity or race or whatever you want to categorize. I don't hate none of them. Shit, I ain't gonna lie. I'm really what I call a humanist. Or a characterist. I'm not racist. I'm humanist and characterist. Depending on your character and the type of human you are determines whether I fuck with you or not. I don't give two shits about your race. I don't give two shits about the color of your motherfucking skin if you treat me and my people with love and respect, and you're a fair and just person, and you're genuine and sincere. I don't give two fucks about the color of your skin, bro. Like I said, I don't have a, and I have to say that my friends that ain't black don't say they have a black friend. I don't say I have a white friend. That's just my friend. You either my friend or you not. You know? So I don't know. Anyway, before we go any further, bro, shout out to everybody. Of course I want better for my motherfucking people. Of course I'm going to stand on business and want justice for my people. Bitch, it's only right. But I don't hate nobody. I'm not convicting these dudes because they white. I'm not saying, oh, they did it. I'm saying, motherfucker, they look suspicious. If they didn't look suspicious at all, I'll be like, well, why the fuck is we talking about these boys? Who killed Nolan? Let's go get who killed them. But the shit is just their activities look suspicious. That's it. When we talk about Mo 3 being, when we talk about Mo 3 being murdered and we want answers for that, how come we're not being labeled grifters or hateful or race baiters then? Everything you read in the comments don't mean that it represents the entirety of the channel. You may see something in the comments where somebody might be like, oh, these people, those people, them people. You ain't heard me say that one time. When I talk about people, I talk about the character contained within, because shit, the majority of us mixed up anyway. When you hating another race, you damn near hating. When you hating another race, you damn near hating yourself, because the majority of us is mixed up with some shit anyway. What the fuck? The majority of us, and if we not mixed up, it's some kids in our family that are. Because everybody, just because you feel a certain way, it's kids it's people in your family that don't feel like you. You might be like, oh, I hate them black bastards. Or I hate them white motherfuckers. I hate them Japanese sons of bitches. You might feel like that, but your family member might be like, shit, BBC. So you never know. Like, fuck racism, bro. I ain't gonna lie. And I come from the South, where there's a lot of unity, but there's also a lot of separation. And on both sides, it's a lot of words that get used that I'm just not comfortable with using and hearing no more. And that shit just corny. Like calling, thinking that, there's a past, and my friends that aren't of my ethnicity shouldn't want to say things that may be considered offensive to my ethnicity, no matter how cool it may seem to say. It's just certain shit that you shouldn't even want to say that word. Like, why would you even want to say that? Hey, do I have the pass to use the N-word? What, neighbor? Because that's all we are, motherfucker. I'm your neighbor. You call me anything else, it's no longer a friendship. It's going to get physical. Let's get physical. Physical, yeah. Tolerate no disrespect, but we can coexist. We can even help each other, depending on your character. But anyway, man, we're going to get up out of here. We're going to go ahead and call it one, man. I appreciate y'all for rocking out the entirety of this time. We've been here a damn 2.5, y'all. Shout out to y'all, the most aggravating chat in the game, the most appreciated chat in the world. Thank y'all. Thank y'all, man. Thank y'all. Thank y'all. Mike from the Ville, what up? Big Rich, what up? Nurse Lady T, what up? Slim John, who? Anon. Oh, they had to get somebody up out of here. Carl Snow, what up? Earth Goddess, what up? Tony Montana. Check up out my ear. Tony Montana. I'm like, damn, I might listen to that old Future. I'm about to cop the Porsche. Tony Montana. That was my shit. Oh, man. Boss Dog Life, what up? Nurse Lady T. Lance Holloway, what up? Willie Free, what up? Sergeant, let's go. Let me see how far I can go up. Desi Sharice, what up? The Arrogant Swine, what up? Chris 82109, what up? James Harris, what up? Let's go. Terry Atkinson, let's go. Squeaky Ranch, let's go. Lone Ranger, let's go. Sydney Hicks, let's go. What up? Shout out to y'all. That's far up as it'll let me go. It's to Bobby Heenan. Shout out y'all, man. Shout out y'all. The most aggravating chat in the game, most appreciated chat in the world. If y'all ain't hit them likes, go ahead and tap them likes real quick, y'all. If you ain't subscribed yet, Or if it's your first time here, you know, go ahead and hit that subscribe, man. We'd love to have you back. Hopefully we gave you a reason to stick around. Or if you were just here for the day, salute. We'll see you in passing. Y'all know how the internet streets are, this YouTube streets and shit. We'll come across each other again. Yeah, maybe in somebody else's live, maybe in some comments, maybe on X. What's that other one? Instagram. You know, you just end up coming like, oh, I know this motherfucker. But shout out to y'all, man. Yeah, them motherfuckers ain't running up. We're going to go ahead and call it one. Listen, I thank y'all once again. Big up yourselves. Big up the motherfucking Mars, man. Big up the Mars. Mars, y'all know, I know today was one of them days. Mars, thank y'all. Big up the Mars. Shout out to the Mars, man. Let's go. Show some love to the mother effing Mars, man. Thank y'all. Salute to y'all. Shout out to the chat, most aggravating chat in the game, most appreciated chat in the world. Big up yourselves. Y'all go finish y'all day out strong. Even if you didn't start it out the way you wanted to. You know what I'm talking about? Make sure you go finish strong, y'all. Finish strong. And don't let nothing or nobody cause you to act outside of your logic. If you feel yourself about to explode or do something foolish, slow down. Give yourself 10 to 30 seconds of thought. And I can almost guarantee whatever stupid action you were about to take or partake in, you're not going to do that, bro. Slow down. Just think. Because I know even the most civil of us that, man, listen, everybody has a breaking point. And sometimes it feels like you reach it, right? It's like, damn, am I about to, is this what snapping feels like? Is this what letting go and going crazy? Breathe, walk away. I don't care what it is, who it is, what it's from. Take a second and breathe. Take 10 to 30 seconds. And if you need, take 10 minutes. You rather have somebody ask you where you was at for 10 minutes than blow up and lose your job. Where have you been? I was in the bathroom. But anyway, I wish y'all the best, man. Stay strong, stay motivated, stay up. Super duper salute to y'all. I appreciate y'all. Don't move off your emotions, man. Don't let your emotions dictate your actions. Trust me. I'm one of those people who used to move off emotions. That's why I can say that and I implore that. Like, please don't do that, bro. Don't do that. All right. Be smart. Be loving, be a beacon of light in this fucked up society, in this fucked up crazy world. Try to be a beacon of light, but in the midst of that, always remain dangerous enough to protect yourself, to make sure that you make it home so you can take care of your priorities. I know it's kind of conflicting, right? When they be like, stay safe, but stay dangerous. Even the holy fought wars. That's all I'm gonna say. I love y'all though, man. We out of here. Super duper salute to y'all. Like my bro says, I reserve the right to be wrong. That don't mean I get to lie. That don't mean I get to be wrong on something, get proved right, and then stand on it. No, I reserve the right to be wrong means there's only room for human error. Don't mean you get to spew lies. And when you're proven wrong, you have to digress, bro. But you do reserve the right to be wrong, to make mistakes. We aren't robots. So like my bro said, I reserve the right to be wrong. And like I say, I identify as a multimillionaire. If they have a bathroom, they have to give us a cash register. It's just that simple. Nothing else to discuss. If they got a bathroom, we need a cash register. We respect y'all choices. Respect ours. We out this motherfucker. Ruminati up. Let's motherfucking go. Look at this nigga keeping it. Go.